Yo people, welcome back to the channel, and it's the T20 World Cup semi-final watch along. It's South Africa women versus England women. Big clash this, and yeah, hopefully South Africa can finally do the job over England in a semi-final. England have knocked out South Africa multiple times. In semi-final or even in a World Cup. So, yeah, Siya Kolisi, of course, Springbok Rugby captain in attendance. So, yeah, this is a massive game for our women to seal a home final, and home semi-final in front of the crowd, the Cape Town faithful. It's going to be a big one. So yeah, let me just see. I'm just gonna check who won the toss. But national anthems taking place right now. Let's. So South Africa woman won the toss and decided to bowl to bat first. Sorry. It's South. Showing the top order of South Africa, you got Laura Wolford, Sasmay Britt, and Cap, Snailies, Claude Tryon, Bosch, and de Klerk. That's the middle order. Then the lower order, Jafata, Ismail, Kaka, and Malaba. That's pretty strong lineup, of course, expected of us. Biapia South, Chris. Nah, less of that. So I'm just gonna check. Chris, I know you got a new channel, so I'll go just sub to that channel because I can. So then I'll go there. I'm just going to go over to your channel and so yeah, it's about to get underway. Live from the Cape Town Stadium. Laura Wolford and Sasmay Britt, the openers for South Africa, ready to come out and put hopefully I score on the board. So yeah, let's see what. Bowling first is number 26 for England. Can't get the name now, but easy one. England are definitely the favorites, and you have beaten us in the past. So I think you guys, I'm going to say of course South Africa to win, but non-biasedly, I think England win this. England wins this most likely. I wouldn't say easy, more comfortable. They're taking the knee right now. just in one sport. Uh, what do you mean? Like, I've seen England and South Africa face off multiple times. Rugby, um, that's the only other time is rugby most like rugby and cricket. That's the only sports we face off. So yeah, but Laura Wolford, she's going to face the first ball of this first over. Update, of course, the overs. Um, update over or when they fall. So wicket burnt and shortish and just hitting straight there to the fielder by by Wolford. So yeah, but we have faced off in rugby too a few times. Oh, not a few times though, multiple times. Second ball running in. Oh, that ball had swing on it and it is cut cut through the gap for four, and South Africa put on 4 runs on the board. I go. Wait, oh, you can't. Yeah, I know you're about to throw thing. Hopefully, you feel better. Um, but you can't watch boxing. That's bet gutting. Beautiful cut shot there by Wolford. Gives herself some room. And now third ball, it's sitting straight there. After the boundary, I will also update the scores. Just so it makes sense. And 4-0. So seems like it's just going to be 4 runs. Oh, there's no boxing. That's a bit of a shame, but I know next week there's big. Now there is boxing. Chris, I see what you've done. Now there is boxing. Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul or something. It's a YouTuber fight, I believe. This weekend, I believe. I don't know if it's Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul. Okay. Versus. Because you don't see it as as boxing, but yeah, it is this Sunday. Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul. The last ball of this over will go again straight to the fielder. So just 4 runs from that first over. My first is going to be better starting to get my voice back. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's really good. News. Yeah. First over. Only 4 gone. Only 4 runs from that over. And Wolfhard faced all 6 of the balls. So Tasman Brits now face from I don't know. At the end, I don't know what end it is. It might be no, they're not saying. Check out. And I got the England fan himself. Of Mane, yeah. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, good. Just saw that first over. Loose delivery from Catherine Cyber Brunt, but apart from that, 5 decent
Oh,
deliveries.
through the gap
And
there. Going to run. They're going to 10 for 2. Can they get 3 possibly? No, they're not going to take on the
throw
arm.
back. This is the problem. I mean, England seamers, as I said in the preview, need to make sure anything off stump, but try and punish that. They're going to try and look to get it through the gaps, and certainly the form they showed against Bangladesh indicative of how well they've come back into how well they can play. But that shouldn't be out, no. A call for an LBW there. I'm pretty certain that she got some bat onto that. If anything, that might have been going over. And I think Heather Knight will probably agree that that was going over. Timer goes
That's
down.
That's kindergarten. Fair enough, of course. You have your own opinion on YouTube boxing. Yeah, no, that's going over. All missing completely.
But that's the delivery you want to bowl. That is the delivery you want to bowl.
And Bruce just hit this one stump out of the ground. Luckily for Wolford, Bell didn't get a hand to it. That was it. Powerful.
Yeah. I see Chris is in the chat hoping, saying that it'll be an England win, but it's not too easy. Sune Luce has won a good toss and opted to bat first.
Did she touch the ball?
No, she didn't. And no, if Bell had gotten a hand to that, Wolvart would have been, Wolvart would have been gone. It just goes to show that, once England find the line, Brits and Wolvart can't play too aggressively. But once these two start to play aggressively, then could be all over by the shouting.
Yeah, I think for England in the power play, they just keep it tight. Keep it tight. Don't give them room. As we all know, in the power play, there's not many fielders outside the circle. Only two.
Exactly.
That ball. Was that not called a wide?
No, because that was within the. It's been called. I think to me it looks as though it starts to deviate after it passed the batsman, but the umpires ruled differently. I suppose that might be a good call in hindsight because you can't.
But the ball is swinging a few times. The ball even with the ball swinging away a bit too much, and there again the ball swings the other way a bit too much, and it's just played straight down to fine leg, I believe that is third man.
Yeah, that is fine leg.
Fine leg, yeah.
Actually, that was a signal to leg by, so I think Brits didn't get any bat on that. But decent start for South Africa. As long as they can avoid losing wickets, they can certainly hit out in the next few. But I have to say that Bell is doing a really good job mixing up the pace of her deliveries. And as I was saying to Chris, I mean, it was a good toss for South Africa to win because I think it's a used pitch, so batting first might be a little bit easier. Batting second is going to be quite difficult, as the likes of New Zealand and Sri Lanka found out.
Are they using the same pitch as yesterday?
And some excellent fielding off her own bowling, 8 for 2, South Africa. And so I'm just worried about because like if you take a look at the way Kaka was able to swing the ball and completely castle the stumps of the, I think it was I don't know if it was the Bangladeshi batsman or the New Zealand batsman, but her bowling was on point. And then Shabnim Ismail and Marizanne Kapp were able to do quite well. And of course, South Africa's spinners, Mlaba and company, they're certainly going to cause a lot of problems. I know that England's batswomen have filled their boots this in the group stages, but the semi-final form goes out the window. Okay, so it's Catherine Sciver-Brunt with the first ball, the second over, and that is played along the ground to the short cover fielder. And I was just saying that your bowling attack could cause England some problems. So England have got to be very careful when they bowl right now.
88 in women's internationals, 19 games won by England, and only 3 by South Africa in ICC Women's T20 World Cup matches. 4 have been played, 3 for England, 1 for South Africa. So England dominate this fixture.
They do, but as I said, form goes out the window. And South Africa on their home turf will be determined to try and, cause a shock. And if you saw yesterday's semi-final between India and Australia, that was a real classic. Australia were
Yeah,
in danger, mind you.
yeah. And that's why I think that's why most teams struggle really. Is to get part is to really get that last 4 overs to really manifest something. That's is what they have done well, Australia, if they have been tested and been dragged to the last 4 overs. Chris says, great to see women's sports getting more exposure. Yeah, no, definitely. Great to see it.
So Cyber Brunt has bowled 8 dot balls and 1 boundary
Oh,
ball.
wait, I didn't change the thing, but
And
it's
some
not
good
going to
fielding at
be
fine.
4. But I'm just going to change this.
Yeah,
Mm,
basically after every over and after every wicket, as you say.
yeah, no, I forgot to do it after this.
And you can see Catherine Cyber Brunt's not very happy. Oldest member of the team, very experienced, but when she bowls to her line, she's unplayable. But on that last delivery, she strayed down the leg side, as you can see.
Score predictor says 132. I won't be happy about that. I think we need to get at least 150 against this England team. If you look at dots and boundaries, the boundary in 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 Brunt's first over, the ball was wider, very wide, and then she could dispatch it quite easily.
Exactly. You bowl short and wide. These bad batswomen, Bulwart and Brits, are going to just eat it up.
And this time Fuller, and that goes through everything. But luckily, the keeper is there. That goes
And luckily
through
for
the
South
bat.
Africa, it missed the wicket.
Yeah, that went through everything. Oof, that was close.
Definitely close.
That was really close. I'm just going to. It's now going to be the 4th over. This will be the last over of the power play, as we know it. And it's a bowling change. I don't know how to pronounce the name. You can probably pronounce the name, dear money. Spinner. Sophie. I'm just going to call her
Sophie
Sophie.
Eccleston. Sophie Eccleston. If you think of the former Formula One head, Bernie Ecclestone, that's how it is. Eccleston. And so England have brought spin on to try to curb this attack. And it's left arm spinner, Sophie Eccleston, who's come on. One of the better spinners in the group stages. And it's certainly the left arm spinners who've had some joy in this tournament. Down the track goes Brits, but unable to get to the ball. And that's another dot ball. And the best part about bowling spinners in the opening stages is that they can definitely get through their overs quite quickly. And I think the left arm spinners, Mlaba and Tryon, will certainly look to Eccleston's performance to see how well they can do in the second innings, because Mlaba has definitely been very, very impressive too. It's left arm around the wicket to the right-handed Tasmin Brits. Sweeping at that, and that goes brilliant shot all the way down to the deep mid-wicket boundary for 4. And so that's one example where the sweep has been played successfully. I sort of think of the analysis that Matthew Hayden and Gautam Gambhir did not too long ago when they said that you can only really look to try and sweep the ball if you're able to get to that and make sure don't lose your wicket. And so Eccleston's going to have to be very careful. Don't bowl too straight. But that was a beautiful delivery, a beautiful response. Pitched and turned sharply, and Wolvar Brits played and missed that. This is the delivery, nicely flighted, excellent turn, and hoping to induce the edge, but not quite getting it. So Brits has been circumspect there. Down the track again, and she hits it straight back over the bowler, but some brilliant fielding on the boundary by Nat Cyberbrunt limits that to 1. And that just goes to show the importance of good field placing. Went down the track, magnificent shot, worthy of a boundary, but Nat Cyber said, not today, Taz. And so in the blink of an eye, Sophie Eccleston's first over is now almost over. 1 delivery left to the right-handed Wolvaart, and she plays that straight to the point fielder who runs in, and at the end of the 4th over, South Africa 14 without loss. And okay. Very nearly went off there, but yeah, so at the end of the 4th over, it is 14 without loss.
Yeah, I'm going to change that now. The 5th over, 14 without loss. Are going to be the 5th over, so the power play's over. Well,
no, they just bowled 4 overs, and that first ball from Dean should now be called a wide. The off spinners come in to bowl, and
what they
I think are they appealing? They're appealing for an LBW from the looks of it. Oh, that was 5 overs, huh? My bad.
No, this is the 5th over. This is the 5th over. So yeah.
Been signal a leg by.
Let's see this.
So it's the off spinner Dean, and that was clearly.
What did? Oh my days! Really?
That was never really going to hit the wicket. I think there was no shout for an LBW there.
It didn't even touch It didn't even touch the pad. The wicket just missed.
It's signal a leg by, so it must have sort of hit her on the backside of her hamstring. No. Second ball of the over.
Oh, and that ball is played nicely into the gap. They will 10 for 2, and that's good work there.
Yep, that's enough. Thank you. Say the fielders. And this is where England have got to be really careful because, again, with Dean bowling, for an off spinner, you've got to bowl to the batsman's offside. If you stray leg, then you're asking for trouble.
Yeah. Oh, shot through the gap. She can't get to that. Well, he's raced to the boundary.
Well, it doesn't reach there because it's died, but they should run for 3. And they do.
No, I think they ran for 2 there. But 2 there. Unless Wolf... No, yeah, Wolvaart did that shot. So
yeah, Wolvaart was the one who hit that, and because it sort of died in its speed, the ball, they ran for 3. And this is really silly stuff. I think, this is not really the best bowling change they could get. I'm not too sure what Dean's trying to do because she knows that in the power play there aren't too many leg side fielders.
Yeah, but the power play's over, so I believe it's so. Yeah, no, it's still the power play.
Yeah, the power play doesn't get over until the power play doesn't get over until after the 6th over. So
yeah,
this is like the spinners could very well be the ones who end up leaking the runs, and I'm really not comfortable with bringing this.
Yeah, she needs to maybe try and hit it over the offside, and that's what she does, and it's a massive 6. Big top 6 shot by Laura Wolvaart, and she's taken action this over.
Top shot. That was an absolutely ugly delivery. It was short, wide, and had hit me written all over it.
I was just thinking maybe she should try and hit the ball over the offside fielders, but I was thinking she's going to try and spin it inwards, and it won't be possible. That time, she kept it wide, and she didn't spin it in. Yes, she does spin it in, and unfortunately, just don't field well on that, and it's now 28 runs, 14 runs from that over, so or 13, but it's 28 runs, and maybe another 12 runs. It would be good in this last power play over. It would be good to get.
Yeah, the idea of bringing spin in to try to do that has not really worked well. The off spin has been expensive. The left arm spinner's bowled okay, but again, if you bowl any loose deliveries, you're asking for trouble, especially in the power play. And
It is my
I think
I got it wrong there. I
Yeah.
said better. Beautiful
Exactly.
shot by Wolfhard. Wide
Yep.
stance. And over the
Classic.
And now Burnt coming back in, slower pace bowler.
It's Brunt, not Burnt.
Right.
Siver Brunt. It's Nat Siver Brunt, who happens to be married to Catherine Siver Brunt. Nat and Cat. And wonderful to see two spouses in the same team. And you can see the second delivery played over there all the way to mid-wicket, and the field is able to get to that. And this is better from England. You could, the idea of bringing spin in this early has certainly not worked at all well. Hopefully they can limit South Africa to just about over 30 runs in the power play, which would be better. Had Eccleston continued, I think Wolvart and Brits would have fancied their chances.
Oh, wide ball,
And
and
as
the
I
keeper misses it also. And will they 10 for 2? No, I
Nope.
think it's for 1.
Well, they get 2 by virtue of the wide and running an extra 1. And just as I say that, an attempted slower ball, but the line's completely wrong. And yeah, if you
Stones
want to
had
bowl
done
an
a
off
lot.
spinner, keep it to the offside.
Yeah. Oh, see, it's that off a leg stretcher fielder one. Need the boundary. I think Brits, for her confidence, she needs boundary. And just think we need to get closer enough to that 40 mark in the 6 overs. We need to get to that 40 mark.
I think you're fine, though. I think you're fine. I think the way Wolvart and Brits
Bouncer
batted.
there, and it smashed to the boundary for 4 runs.
Backward
and I was
point.
talking about Brits getting the boundary, and she does get it. I don't know what she is thinking there. Awful delivery.
Yep.
The keeper is up. You're bowling slow pace. Why are you going to bowl short? Just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think after the power play, Knight's going to have to, read her bowlers the riot act. This is pretty poor stuff. You do not want to, give those freebies to the batsmen, especially given that Wolvart and Brits had played themselves back into some form. I think as long as you get a partnership, you should be fine. You could end up getting a more than decent total.
Yeah, no, definitely. The problem recently has been our medal order. As soon as one of these women goes out, it's just downhill from there. Of Cup not really being in form, Snidely's taking longer with her, gets into innings, and it will end on 37. So 9 runs from that over. That's good. 9 runs from that over. So after the power play, 37 runs for 0. And Manny, your assessment on that 30 overs?
Yeah, I mean, basically everything that the worst part about England conceding this many runs in the power play, I mean, it's not bad necessarily, but it should be a lot better. I think they're going to look back on those loose deliveries that they bowled and say to themselves, you know what, we handed those runs to them on the platter. But I think Wolvart and Brits have also played responsibly, not taken any risks, and it's going to be interesting to see how they negotiate these next overs. And we see another off spinner in Sarah Glenn coming in, with Dean proving not to be good. Let's see how Glenn does. Actually, it's a leg spinner who comes in, but I mean, she certainly has the ability to bowl. Yep, sort of back of the hand there.
Oof.
Slightly moving away.
No, just that.
Beautiful stuff.
Oh, and let's play the for single.
Yep.
Until my assessments on the power play, I would have wanted a bit more, but we really only started to it in the last 2 overs of the power play. And just taking 4 overs to get assessment of the pitch and the bowlers, and then it's in them. So now we all right in the power play. Glenn, back off then, doesn't get past that. Good fielding and bowling there by Glenn.
That is excellent bowling, sticking to a proper line, turning the ball away. As a leg spinner, if you bowl straight, it's not going to be easy to get a leg break away.
There, and it's going to be a welcome 4 runs. You spoke there about bowling too straight, and she bowls on the wickets, and Wolford just gives her some room.
When will I ever learn to shut my mouth? I think that one was a bit too short, which allowed Wolvart to rock back on her feet and get it. And certainly the field being spread that way didn't help. But
and this time it's straight to the fielder.
So, yeah, this time the fielder says not this time.
With the boundary, 52-0, and to just be played. They will run for 2.
Yeah,
and it's 7 runs from that over. That's good. They're upping that run rate 44 for a loss of 0 after 7 overs, and we're starting to get.
And this could prove to be dangerous for England if they don't get a breakthrough. But some really good shots there from both Wolvart and Brits.
You guys are persisting with the spinners, really, because those are the main bowlers, and we've been hit so many times. These spinners.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show when England have normally batted, we've normally, set a big target and done really well with the bat in the first innings. In the second innings, we've had problems. There's Eccleston back with her left arm spin. And again, the problem with bowling that is that when you stray down to the leg side, both these batsmen are very good at being able to work the ball onto the leg and get some singles that way. And especially with mid-wicket and backward point being a little bit too deep, singles are right for the picking. And these singles can certainly add a bit more to the anxiety of the England bowlers. So, yeah, it's good stuff from Anna.
Definitely. Wolford comes down the crease, just past the first fielder, and they will it's a single there.
Yep, played on the offside, past the cover fielder down to long off. There are 3 deep fielders on the leg side. The singles can be picked very easily. Long on, deep mid wicket, and backward point. And you see over there, Brits coming down the ground, playing that to long on for another single. And this is the big problem now. I mean, with the spinners, they just know that they just have to keep ticking, keep the scoreboard ticking, and they get a bad ball and they'll hit it for the boundary.
Yeah.
So I think this team will have to be brought back.
And I think maybe a boundary in these last 2 balls can really help us, because we just need a boundary every over, and rest can be singles or twos. We just need that one boundary, even if it's a four that is lucky. Just need something, just a boundary over. Uh, um, 5 runs. This over, can we maybe get a boundary this last ball to take the score over 50? And ball hit there through cover, and they wanted to turn for two, but they saw the ball coming, started against it. So it's 50 up for South Africa to 8 overs, and we're getting along nicely. 50 partnership of the 48 balls, and Wolford 27 and Brits 18. Wolford, she's closing on a 50. Hopefully she can get it for her confidence. I hope Brits can get also a 50. Yeah, keep smashing that like button, people.
Yeah, Wolvart looks in really good touch, and Brits is also chipping in. It's a good opening partnership, this, and as long as they can, keep doing what they're doing, they'll be fine. Listen, I'll be back in a few minutes, okay?
Yeah, no worries. And they've gone back.
Give me a minute.
Back to the seamer, and Wolford smashes her over the inner ring circle for a welcome boundary. And Wolford has said enough is enough. It's time to push that acceleration button. Beautiful shot. White Suns plants her feet, and what a shot. Incredible shot, and that brings the total closer to 60. And now Wolford wanted to cut in there through the gap, but great fielding, and it will only be a single. 55 now.
Well, let me guess. First ball boundary. South Africans a cock a hoop. Third ball of Nat Brunt's over, and that is prodded all the way to short mid-wicket. And of course, we're seeing highlights of Laura Wolvart's innings where she was able to get into form and completely cream the Bangladeshi bowlers for 66 runs of just 56 balls, off 56 balls rather. And a short ball from Brunt, and well, apparently that's hit the square leg umpire. The batsman have run for a single. Interesting piece of play, that. Square leg umpire there doing England a favour, because the way that was hit, that would have certainly gone for 4. Ooh, that had to hurt. But she took a licking, and now she's ticking, and that is by the umpire, but only a single for South Africa to the same area, backward point. And, square leg, rather. 7 runs off this over 2, so South Africa going along very nicely indeed, exactly how Hannah would have wanted. And that's going to be the 8th run off the over. And so far, England's bowlers are not having any kind of joy whatsoever. 9 overs gone, 58 for no loss. And again, the fact that Sune Luz was able to call correctly and up to bat first has so far proved to be a good toss to win, because both these opening batsmen know that they don't have the pressure of having to chase a big total, so they can get themselves set and start playing their shots whenever they feel like it. We have Charlie Dean back into the, I mean, not Dean, it's Sarah Glenn back as the attack, rather, with her finger spinning leg break, and her first ball is played all the way down to square leg area for a single. And South Africa going strongly. And as I said, it was a good toss for Sune Luz to win, and batting first is the right thing to do. Because if Wolvaardt and Brits had to chase a very big total like England's 213 against Pakistan, they could have been put under some pressure. But now it's the England bowlers who are feeling the heat. And some poor fielding there at cover will allow them to run for another single.
If you look at balls missing the stumps, many balls missing the stumps and only hitting stumps are a few, but that is only clean. And massive shot by Tasman Brit down the ground for a welcome boundary.
Welcome indeed. You've been getting, exactly as you've said, you've been dealing in boundaries for one ball and singles for a few others. And so far, England's attack has been, quite frankly, toothless. But it will be interesting to see what they could do at the mid-stage. And Heather Knight's got a lot of thinking to do, really. And she was at fault for letting a ball go through her at cover. Going down the track again, but this time only prodding it down to deep mid-wicket for another single. 7 runs already off 4 balls. So you're going really well. Well done.
Yeah, we're going well. But England still have to bat. That's the main thing.
And with the field being spread, they're just picking singles, and a landmark for Laura Wolvaardt. She has hit her 1,000th T20 international run with that single, 8 off the over. And last ball played down all the way to long on, who came up to mid on to get that. And South Africa is 67 for 10 after 10. 9 runs off that over. Heather Knight, what do you do from here? Do you bring back your seamers or stick with your spinners? Your spinners are leaking runs. Your bowlers look as though they can. They're not so decisive as they used to be. What do you do?
So, 10 overs gone. Good score up.
By the way, I don't know if you are Catholic, if your family's Catholic, but in any case, I hope your family. I'm giving you my best wishes to your family for Lent, and I hope this will be a good period for you and your family.
Thanks.
Well, at the moment, Hannah seems to be coming and going, but certainly the way things are going right now for South Africa, it's so far so good. England just haven't been able to find the breakthrough they needed. And this pitch may very well be used for the final on Sunday. So it will be interesting to see if... Yeah, so I was just about to say that with this pitch also already being used, I don't know if it'll be. It may be. I don't know if it's going to be used in the same condition for the final, or whether it'll be rolled over. But certainly, looking at the second innings, I think the spinners, Mlaba and company, are going to have a real field day bowling on this pitch. England's batswomen are going to have to play really, really well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's going to be interesting match. The second innings, it's going to be an interesting one. But I just hoping South Africa can get just above double in this next 10 overs. Highlight moments: South Africa versus England in 2020. We got our first win over England in a T20.
And in the T20 World Cup, that is. And Sune Luce was, of course, a part of that team. And the names there, Danny van Niekerk, Mignon de Vries, along with Marizanne Kapp, Chloe Tryon, Shabnim Ismail. So, of course, Tammy Beaumont was in the England team then. Charlie Dean, the off spinner, back into the attack, and now she's going to have to really bowl to a proper line. She cannot afford to stray down the leg side. Otherwise, these batswomen are going to really, really, really tear into her.
Yeah, no, definitely. She needs to keep a line, or she's going to get punished.
Yeah, and that's a better line to bowl. Obviously, that was in between the fielders, but when you take a look at how the offside's packed, you want to bowl to that particular line.
Going for another single. One turn for two. Susan says, I agree. After batting well so far. Yeah, we've been batting well so far. Just need to keep it up. Wolford wanted to look for the boundary there. Doesn't find it. Only a single.
Yeah. And that bit you were saying about how you're going to depend a lot on your openers with the middle order not having fired. I think there is a point there, but of course, with Tryon back in the team, she obviously had that terrific innings against, I believe it was, I think it was against New Zealand that she played well. She was, of course, player of the match for a good half century and 2 wickets. So as long as she's there, she knows definitely how to hit and is quite a powerful hitter.
Yeah, no,
5 runs off that over, and South Africa 70. Yeah,
72 there.
Yeah, so definitely. Yeah, so definitely. England are still going to try and look to get up a wicket, and if they can break this partnership, at least they have some hope of being able to get a bit further. But again, never underestimate the power of an opening partnership to provide confidence in terms of, to provide confidence for the other batsmen. Batswomen in the team.
They're showing the beautiful Table Mountain there. Bell, she's back into the attack. The first over only went for 3. And Brits over the top.
Ooh.
Can't catch. They close.
Yeah, well, you can see that, with that ball starting to skid a little bit, that's why it's a good tactic to bring her back in. Because obviously, that sort of came up onto Brits and she poked it in the air. And had the fielder, Capsey, been a little bit deeper, she would have snapped that up easily. But some hope if she can at least get stick to that line.
And Brits high up into the sky. Nobody's under it. And it falls
I swear.
Off the field.
If you throw Tasman Brits into the river, she'll come out with a trout in her mouth. That's the second time in that over. But
she's looking for that big boundary.
Yeah, really but my words to Bell would be Keep doing what you're doing. Keep your head up, chin up. You're doing great. Just stick to that line and don't waver.
Now Wolfhard. She wants to go big. She doesn't go as big, but in the gap, and it's 4 runs for her. And that is what Brits wanted to do. I'm just going to update the score as there was a boundary.
Yeah, be very careful. If there's a boundary next ball, you're going to be busier than ever. But she leaned into that very well, pierced the onside field. Well-deserved boundary for Laura Wolfhard. Moves to 41.
And Wolfhard.
That's going to be a wide.
There, that's so off the ball. It's going to be called a wide.
It's as if everything that the England bowlers are trying is just completely, not working.
Yeah, definitely. 80 runs on the board for South Africa now. And England needs to look out. If we can get...
Hang about, there's a special guest in the commentary box. The 2019 Rugby World Cup captain, Siya Kolisi.
Oh, beautiful shot there by Wolfhard. Straight to the fielder. Only be 1 run.
Played along extra cover. And now with the field spread, obviously they're going to still look for singles. So this is really depressing in some ways if you're an England fan. But if you're a South African fan, well done. You're playing magnificently. You've done well so far. And that's sort of, that delivery sort of stopped right there and sort of left itself open to be hit, but only went for a single. And you can see the South Africans starting to believe the longer these two are at the crease.
Yeah, no, definitely. Wolfhard, it's set for the gap. Only a signal.
11
83.
runs off that over. 11 runs.
11 runs. Beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
11 runs. Still no dismissal of sorts. But the 2 best chances of a dismissal was this over in the first 2 balls. That's it. And they have listened and they just boundary every over, and the rest we can just rotate this strike. And if we don't get the boundary over, the next over we just go twice as hard.
And once again, Charlie Dean back into the attack, and her second over has been quite expensive as well.
Dean, it's
down the track by Wolfhard, but only succeeding in playing that to the sort of long on area. And Kolisi there catching up with the South African team. National hero, of course.
Oh, onto there.
And some decent captaincy from Heather Knight, opting to keep
and
a
are
leg.
they going to go for a review yet? Yes, they are going for a review.
I'm pretty sure they won't have a case here because, again, with the way Dean was spinning, as much as it doesn't really deviate, I don't think it really would have gone and, hit the wicket.
Yeah.
But we're going to take a look and see.
Look and see.
It's probably more desperation than anything else because with Heather Knight, it's sort of like a Hail Mary, this review.
Yeah.
Nice delivery. I was going straight on, and that hit her on the top of the pad. I just don't know if that was going to go on and hit leg.
That might be out. That might be gone. Let's see.
Wait, we'll see if there's
any
edge.
glove? Nah, there's glove. There's glove.
Yep. The glove is safer.
That's cutting. There's
Glover
Glove.
saved her.
Glove the string.
Yep. So a wasted
Oh.
review. And now England still have it all to do.
Sorry that tomorrow will be a sad day for you, Just fan. But yeah, no. That's why we want to do streams and help people recognize more sports and get into more sports. Wolfart, 6 away from a 50. Goes down the ground, just hits it down the ground. Came down the pitch, sorry.
Yep, and once again, a straight to the long on fielder.
Yeah.
And
2 runs from the server. Briarwood wants boundary. And Britt goes down the ground, just straight to the fielder. And the time that's straight down the ground. 4 runs.
So the run rate is still just under 7. And I remember you saying, Hanno, that 150 would be a good score to take. But I think England probably realised that poor fielding there, and that should give them another run. And England's fielding, which normally throughout this tournament has been so good, has now cost them a few more. Marizanne Kapp is ready. And I think, yeah, now it's up to 69 for 4. If they get to a double of this last ball, get them to 91, exactly 7.
Wolfart 3 away from my 50. She comes down the pitch. She only gets a single and she will face the next ball.
Yeah, so I think you are on good track to get something like 150. I think England's batswomen will back themselves to, hit out a bit, but they're going to have to be very circumspect and careful up against the spin of Malaba, but also the seam of Ayabonga Khaka, Shabnim Ismail, and Marizanne Kapp. So again, great toss to win for Sune Luce, and she's done well. Just give me a couple of minutes, I'll be back, yeah?
Yeah, no worries, man. South Africa 90 for 0 after 13 overs. And the women are making us proud at the moment. If we can 40 runs away from 150, we should be able to get 40 runs in 50 overs. And Wolfart goes over the top in the gap, and it's a welcome boundary. 4 runs, and Sophie Ecclestone is going to be eaten now, and it's 50 up for Laura Wolfart, and that's brilliant shot there, brilliant 50, incredible 50 by Laura Wolfart, showing she's a big game player. Cut there through the gap, and it's going to be Brits now facing the strike. Just going to put in there.
Well, I've boundary off the first ball again. That's it. I'm not leaving.
And shot down the ground, and see, they've got the boundary, and that's all they need.
Yes, and now the run rates come up to about 7 points.
Are beautiful shots over the top. 50. I'm just
toothless
changing.
Bowling.
Oh, is she out? Wolfart is out. Wolfart is out. I was just about to say Wolfart 50 not out, but she's gone. So I'm going to say. And Ecclestone brings up the first wicket. And once again, seems like
top innings from Wolfart, and I think that delivery that was the sort of the delivery that left arm spinner is able to bowl. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the arm bowl, but it's the type of delivery where if you bowl into the pitch, it sort of, comes back onto you. And Wolvaert obviously was in two minds as to what sort of shot to play. It ended up coming off her bat, popping up straight to the fielder, and that's the first wicket. But that could very well be a Pyrrhic victory because, as I've said, the left-arm spinners that you have could very well exploit that perfectly. And of course,
And then Marizanne Kapp. She hasn't fight this
Yeah.
tournament. She needs to show why she's in this team.
Yeah. And again, as you said, the middle order really would have done with Danny van Niekerk. But, it is what it is. And the team have so far found ways to win and win well. That victory over New Zealand obviously gave them the confidence they needed to go through to the semi-finals. And now they're here. And we're going to see if England can take advantage of breaking that partnership by trying to take a few more, or will South Africa keep on rolling?
Kapp. Almost. She has struggled for form recently, Kapp.
Yeah. Yeah. What happened was that she didn't play that at all well, ended up getting the side edge of the baton instead of the face, popped up in the air, and Charlie Dean said, "Baie dankie." Actually, she doesn't speak Afrikaans, but that's what she would have said to Laura Wolvaert if she did. And that should be 2 off that ball, and they run 2 effectively. 8 runs off the over, 98 for 1, a run rate of exactly 7. So, 150 on the cards. What do you say?
Yeah, not definitely. It's on the cards. It's on the cards either way. It's on the cards. We need to get to 150. That's a big thing. And of 6 overs remaining, just needing 42.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah,
It's
but
possible.
bear in mind, of course, this England side do bat very, very deep. And, of course,
Yeah,
they...
that's the reason I want to get at least 150.
But I think your bowlers will certainly cause more than a few problems. And so we are back with Sarah Glenn, who's bowled the first over ball. It's a dot ball. And Tamsin Brits is still at the crease, and that should be a wide, and it is. And this is one thing which I absolutely despise when it comes to bowlers who end up, bowling and the ball completely strays away. Straying away and bowling a wide will add more runs against you. And Brits goes down the track. She hits that high, but does she have the elevation to take it all the way? Yes, she does. A brilliant 6. That takes her to 42 off 40 balls. And so she's definitely looking to try to continue where Laura Wolvaert left off. Dancing down the track beautifully, and Heather Knight once again is not happy, but better delivery, which forces Brits back into her crease, and she ends up playing that all the way to cover. A dot ball. And once again, already 7 runs off this over, but she got to the line of that ball quite brilliantly, smacked that back over the bowler over the long on boundary, and she's looking to do it again. I think she's got the elevation this time, and that's another 6. So Tasmin Brits has gone to 48 off 42. South Africa are on Nelson. And I think it's fair to say that this could very well be the over that sends South Africa to the target they want and potentially a spot in the World Cup final. And Sarah Glenn is now looking dispirited and despondent. What does she do? Well, she's got to complete the over. And she has no choice but to try and bowl it wide to the offside, and ends up getting smoked all the way to the long off boundary, and that brings up Tamsin Brits' half century of 13 balls. 16 runs off the last 4 to take her there. And this could very well propel South Africa to a total that they would desire a great deal. And England are going to have themselves to blame for, conceding these runs. These are poor runs to give away, absolutely poor runs. And I think it is now time for Charlie Dean to be taken out of the attack. Hold on a minute.
People, I'm back. Yeah, 2 sixes in a row. Incredible day from Tasmania Brits. 116 of the 15 overs. Brits is on how many runs? Look at where Brits has hitting at boundaries. It's been either wide or close to the stumps. And bowled into her and hit over the inner ring. And it's another 4 runs. And Tasmania Brits has come to life. 120 for South Africa. Up. And if I was an England fan, I would be worried. And Brits say through mid wickets, I believe that is, or covers. Maybe another boundary from this over. Cup, she goes high into the air and just clears the fielder. Fielders didn't know where that ball was. They needed to catch that. And you can see on Knight's face, she's in agony. Fielders didn't spot the ball, didn't keep hold of the ball in the air. It's another opportunity goes missing. There's Sam Eccleston. Now Cup again. Gives herself some room over the top. One bounce to the fielder. She gets it in and they run 2. That brings the total up to 125. With just 4 overs remaining. It's looking promising from a South African perspective. Really promising. Showing the scorecard, England camp are nervous. And they're calling on the spinner again, Brunt to come save them. I believe it is the spinner. No. Pace bowler Brunt. I believe she bowled the first over back into the attack. And they're going to run hard and run 2. Great running between the wickets by these 2. Brits now
Yep.
6. Cup now almost cups that through.
It's just one of those days, Hanno, where everything that could go right for South Africa has gone right. Terrific batting from both Wolvaardt and Brits. Terrific use of the footwork feet to go down the track. And they've got their eye in and they're still continuing. Even after the loss of Wolvaardt, Brits has looked really good. She's demoralized Charlie Dean. And now Heather Knight really is out of ideas. I think I wouldn't be surprised if we do get something like about 160 at this rate. Run rate of 7.84. This is brilliant batting in England.
Brits. Dropped, and it's going to be a 4. And today, everything, like you said, when it goes into our favor. England drop catch there, perfect opportunity. She should have gone forward. She didn't know to stay back or go forward.
And you can see that Catherine Sciver-Brunt is apoplectic. Absolutely disgusted. If that was Elisa Perry, that would have been snapped up. Fielding makes a difference in this game. We're going to see how much South Africa will be up for it when they field.
Oh. They're lucky their cup there to get away.
And then, of course, after Cap, it'll be Sune Luz and Chloe Tryon. And then you've got the all-rounders, Bosch and de Klerk. And then and the wicket-keeper, Jafta. So decent batting to come in, even if they haven't scored too many runs. Brits trying to be a little too clever. Very nearly gave up her wicket, but fortunately there was no edge.
Right, the over is still going.
And England needs to be careful because they don't want to, get behind the over rate. And they decide to run for 2. And once again, Catherine Sliver-Brunt is left apoplectic. 135 for one after 17, and they are looking really, really good.
10 rounds from that over, and Chloe Tryon is the next one that's looking that's probably going to come in with her wicketting.
Good call. Good call. You know, if South Africa lose a wicket right now, if Cap has to make way, then who better than Chloe Tryon to, pound on the misery for England, as it were.
Bell back into the attack. Another spinner.
I've got these ridiculous advertisements coming on right now. I might end up missing the first ball. That's beautifully played through the covers there, but that'll just be a single. It won't be easy chasing on this wicket, let me tell you, because the spinners are going to try and find some joy. I think the seamers as well, if they can get the ball to swing, which England seamers didn't do, they will be asking for trouble. Hold on a minute, please, Hannah.
Brits take a sneaky single day.
Another single there. And
now, she goes to hit the ball over the keeper's head.
Yeah, sort of using the Douglas Marilia shot, which was pioneered by the former Zimbabwe batsman, moving to her offside and sort of trying to paddle that over. And I think she completely missed it, but it went off her pad, so that counts as a leg bye. Yep, straight off her pad. Well, obviously, one more over.
Shot and close. Dive there and just couldn't get her fingers, get her hands closer to the ball.
Top shot. She's got another 14 balls after this to try and get a century, Tasmin Brits. She's wearing the number 1 jersey, and she's certainly the playing like the number 1. And oh yeah, Heather Knight once again at the cover has had an awful time of it in that position. It has to be said.
5 people watching right now. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And Brits going down the ground and caught on the boundary. Tasman Brits in comes to and it's now 142 for 2 after still the 17th over. Oh no, wait, it's the 18th over. I haven't changed the overs, right? Yeah, it is the 18th over. No, 17th. But she's getting a proper send off, the crowd clapping for her. She has had a great innings so far.
Excellent innings from Tasmin Brits.
Yeah, and
certainly did a terrific. She certainly did a terrific job in keeping the pressure on England after Woolvart departed, and certainly the way she was able to dismantle Sarah Glenn in that over, taking 4 balls to get to 50. Quite brilliant, really. And I think England are going to be quite dispirited with their bowling display. 2 wickets. They've got both the openers, but with Chloe Tryon to come in, it could very well be out of the frying pan into the fire. Speaking of which, she's facing her first ball, and she plays that straight to the... Well, you can see the confidence right now. They're just running at everything. And normally they wouldn't even think of taking that run, but they've taken it. 143 for 2 after 18, just under 8. And I really do fear for England in these last 2 overs now. Even with Cap scratching around, Tryon does look in good form. So, I mean, Tryon is actually left-handed. She bowls left arm spin. But you can see when she bats, she's got some brilliant control with her top hand, which holds it perfectly well, and then just sort of punches it back like that. And then, of course, the right hand comes through. Very powerful girl. Very powerful lady. And certainly one who could be expected to play a big role later on. A nice stat over there. Tasman Brits and Nat Siver Brunt have the joint highest scores in the Women's World Cup. Of course, Nat Siver Brunt will come out to bat later on, and Alyssa Healy will be batting in the final. Eccleston right now.
Oh,
up in the air.
Chloe Tryon, and nobody's there.
I told
They
you it's
run
one of those
2.
days. And they run for 2. It's as if they're literally, laughing in England's faces at the moment. They're just rubbing it in, aren't they?
Yeah.
If I were Heather Knight now...
Oh. And she's gone. This is what I was talking about. Our medal order does not have form and possibly aiming for around 160. Now it's going to be difficult to get 150.
I disagree. I think the momentum you have will take you there. Obviously, an ugly cross-batted heave there from Tryon. She did well against New Zealand. I thought she was looking good. But maybe those 2 balls were a way of saying, you're not going to get anything past me. And so 3 off 3 for Tryon. And it is now 145 for 3, as you've said. But listen, it's there are 10 balls left. You need another 5 for 150. You need 15 for 160. You should get it quite easily. Loose will be coming in, I think.
De Klerk. Nadine de Klerk. Now to the crease.
Nadine de Klerk. It's amazing that Sune Luce hasn't come out. What's wrong with her?
It's not really it. I think she takes longer to get used to. Close there. Showing the wickets again.
Yeah, sort of a
Whack.
cross-batted heave. I thought she was probably trying to get it over the leg side, but she just didn't have the distance or elevation needed.
And bowled. Gone. The money. I told you it's going to be difficult to get 150.
No, what has happened now? I mean, it just goes to show it can never be over until it's over. I mean, we saw it in the first semi-final between Australia and India. India were coasting, but then an unfortunate run out, a few more episodes of great fielding pegged India back. And, Sophie Eccleston has brought some Eccles cakes and joined the party. Second ball duck for Nadine de Klerk, and they are 145 for 4. But listen, you still got the last over. Enjoy. I mean, obviously, if you don't get to 150, these wickets right now from Sophie Eccleston will be a real lift for England. But if you ask me, the damage was done when Volvart and Brits were going hammer and tongs at everything.
Yeah, but no run.
Almost a Yorker delivery that completely flummoxed Nadine de Klerk. And that last ball is played by Sune Luce down to the long on boundary, so she will take the strike. 3 runs off that over, 146 for 4. And I think she's probably going to want to try and take another single to get Cap back on strike. At least she can probably hit.
No. Sophie Ecclestone's numbers now look really great. They didn't look great. Now it looks great. It looked bad. Now it looks good.
I do seem to remember the men's 2020 semi-final when England played India. It was Joss Butler and Alex Hales who completely destroyed the Indian bowling attack. There was a drop catch in that innings, Surya Kumar Yadav, the guilty party there, but an unbroken partnership of 170, and England won by 10 wickets. So I don't think we can see that coming up now. And taking a look at Ecclestone's figures, 3 for 22, 5.5 economy rate, great recovery. And now Catherine Sciver-Brunt has been called on to bowl the last over.
Just get to 150. 10 for 2. Snay.
Now this time I think you see the fielders are starting to be aggressive. Cap wanted the second, but Luce said nay, as you said. And I think
really
Sciver was trying to bowl more of a slower ball there. Didn't really get any kind of line or length right. As you say, if they get to 150, it'll be good. But 160 is still not impossible. 13 runs, 3 boundaries.
Come on, Cap. Smack that ball, please. Over the top. Just go over the top. That's all you do. Smash it over the top. Come on. Oh, no, but will also help, and it's a welcome boundary. Come on.
I told
you. And
you.
it's a no ball.
Free hit.
And all that hard work by Ecclestone almost gone in one ball. All that hard work.
Yeah, it would have been nice if it had gone over the rope, but the attempted slower ball there coming completely out of the back of her hand. All that experience working against her. And just short of the boundary, but definitely welcome runs. That is a 4, and it will be a free hit. And that brings up South Africa's 150.
Yeah, 150 on the board. And it's a free hit. Come on, Cap. Smash it over the boundary. Go far.
Yeah. So Brunt's going to have to bowl really well. She can't bowl. She can't get Cap's wicket. But I mean, you can be run out of a free hit, though, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, you can be run out on a free hit. Last 5 deliveries. So it's Africa. Can we get 260? All the leg side fielders on the boundary. All the offside fielders inside the ring. Nope. 1 offside fielder has gone out. And 1 leg side fielder has come in.
Yeah, I see a leg slip. I see extra covers gone deep. And then there are 2 people near the mid-off position.
Brunt, Cap, high into the sky. Full shots.
But once again, they run for 2. This is good stuff from South Africa. 6 runs to get to 160. And it's still Marius on Cap. single off this ball. And that brings Sune loose on strike. 3 balls, 5 runs to get to 160. Can they do it? A disappointing bowling display from England, which has been given a little bit of gloss by those 4 wickets, including the 2 late ones for Sophie Ecclestone. Nicely fielded, but that will be a single. And that brings Mariazan Cap back on strike. A boundary will take them to the promised land of 160. This has been a pretty good performance by the South Africans, who've done the damage early on. And 2 balls left, 4 runs for 160. If they get to 160, it will be a psychological boost, but England's batswomen will look to back themselves and start hitting.
Fine leg out deep, square leg out deep, mid wicket out, and long on also out. So leg side, there's only 1 fielder inside. Offside is packed in to the inner ring, and it's hidden down the ground for boundary by Cup, and it's 160 from up for South Africa.
Yep.
Now, could we maybe get to 165-ish?
Well, you'll need a 6 off the last ball, and once again, the fielding placement has been left to be desired. Heather Knight's normally a really smart captain, but her field placings have been absolutely abysmal. She's had a torrid time at the cover region, and all she can do is just try and provide some encouragement. That 160 is a huge psychological barrier, and now they pack the offside field. So Brunt now...
Oh,
and that's a dreadful delivery.
And it's a boundary.
A dreadful delivery. Your captain packs your offside field, and you bowl a delivery that goes down to the leg side. 164 for 4.
For after 20 overs, and England, they need 165 from 120 balls, 8.25 runs per over, and it's a quite difficult one for
that is going to be difficult in every way. And Catherine Brunt, that last over, she would certainly not want to look back on that in a hurry. A no ball for 2 fours off that last ball. And I would say one of the more expensive overs to bowl. I believe they were 145 at the end of the 19th over. 20 runs off that last one, if I'm not wrong.
Mani, I'm just going to... I'll be back for in a bit. I just need to go quickly to
All right.
something.
Okay. So, confirmation, of course. It was basically the Brits and Woolvart show, with Woolvart starting proceedings with some fine hitting, and then after she went out, Tasman Brits picking up where her opening partner left off. A few wickets near the end, with Sophie Ecclestone easily the pick of England's bowlers, coming back in and coming back with a bang, but Sarah Glenn was dreadfully expensive. Catherine Sciver-Brunt had her otherwise impressive figures spoilt with that last over. And so the final overs, 48 off those final 5 with the loss of 3 wickets at 9.6, 79 runs in the middle overs at 8.78, a decent enough power play. And clearly Woolvart and Brits were smart enough to use the middle overs and the spreading of the field to their advantage. And we're going to hear from Laura Woolvart right now. Okay, so Woolwart basically saying there that both she and Brits had to look to play their natural game, didn't have the best of starts during the power play. I mean, obviously they could have gotten a few more runs, and wasn't too surprised to see Sophie Eccleston come in and bowl because she normally does bowl for England during the power plays. But and of course, as good as the total they've scored, they would have looked to have had 170 or 180, and she made it clear that there wasn't really much in it for the bowlers in the first inning. So it was a good toss for Sune Luce to win. England's batting still looks quite good, but they also do have a knack of losing wickets every now and then. Several of their batswomen are in really good form. Certainly, if we take a look at the batting lineup, we're going to see which batswomen rather, could come into play. I'm going to take a look at the shots from the beginning. Chris Welsh, big up, Hannah. Come on, England, that's the way. Easy win for England. Chris, mate, we could be in for a shellacking. I believe you've forgotten about Rugby Union, the Rugby World Cup. And of course, we had the Rugby World Cup winning captain from South Africa in the commentary box, and they beat England in the final, just like they did to us in 2007. No boxing to watch this weekend, a bit of a shame. You're not missing out on very much, to be honest, mate. I think the boxing heavyweight division really lost its luster after Lennox Lewis retired. Most of the stuff you see is really, theatrics more than anything else, in my opinion. Throat getting better, starting to get your voice back slowly. Wonderful. Not boxing, it's kindergarten. Yeah. Yep. Good to see women's sports getting more exposure. Now, the Chelsea fan. South Africa weren't all out by now. They took the initiative and completely creamed a few of England's bowlers. Big up, Chris. Yes, keep hitting the like button. South Africa have been batting well. Whatever's happening tomorrow, I hope you'll overcome that. We've got you back. 2 sixes in a row. Yep. Taken to the cleaners. Getting worried now. Well, we're going to take a look at the South Africa 161 indeed after 20 overs. Yep, just changing it. Saved. And this is, of course, the state of play. They need 165 runs at 8.25 and over to overturn South Africa's deficit. And we take a look at the scorecard again, of course. I'm just going to present all of this. Thanks due, of course, to the wonderful people at espncricinfo.com. Right. So again, another look at the scorecard. We see at the top of the order, it was Woolwart and Brits who ran the show. Mariazan Kapp coming in and playing a nice late cameo of her own to take the team past 160. Tryon, de Klerk, and de Klerk were pretty much, bundled out by Eccleston, and Luce came in for a little supporting salvo. And if you take a look at the bowling, that no ball from Catherine Sciver-Brunt really cost her and left her figures looking really poor at the end of it all. Sophie Eccleston easily the best of the bowlers. Lauren Bell chipping in with a wicket, but Charlie Dean, Nat Sciver-Brunt and Sarah Glenn were very ineffective indeed. But if we take a look at the team of England, certainly the likes of Sophia Dunkley and Alice Capsey are expected to do quite well as Danny White at the top of the order. Nat Sciver-Brunt, of course, has been in the runs. Heather Knight, Amy Jones, the wicketkeeper, and then you have the bowlers. Wouldn't necessarily, they do bat quite deep up till Catherine Sciver-Brunt, but you certainly wouldn't want to put yourself in a situation where, you're depending on your lower order batswomen to get you out of trouble. And we will take a look at some of the statistics, of course. If we take a look at England's statistics, we're going to see which... whoops. Wrong one. Series is what I wanted. Stats. Okay, batting and bowling averages. We're going to take a look at the England women. And so far, Nat Sciver's been the top scorer. High score of 81. Amy Jones, 47. 59 for Danni Wyatt. Alice Capsey with a half century. So some of their batsmen have come quite good. Average has not been much to shout about, but except for Nat Sciver. But certainly these are batsmen who have decent records and who can hit. But we are now coming out to the beginning of the England innings, and we're going to take a look at the England openers. I believe it will be Wyatt and Dunkley who are coming out to bat. England, 0 for 0. Need 165 runs of 20 overs. Right, and we're going to find out who will be bowling first. And as usual, they're going to start off with the left-arm spinner. Obviously, the success of Sophie Ecclestone later on this innings has meant that, it could very well prove to be a good omen for Mlaba. I want to make sure I get her name spot on. Yeah, it is Sophia Dunkley and Danni Wyatt who will be opening the batting for England. Top score 34 for Dunkley, 59 for Wyatt. And it is the left-arm spinner Mlaba who starts to bowl, and her first ball, left arm round the wicket to the right-handed Danni Wyatt, was played by Wyatt. Not quite sort of trying to look for the gap in the leg side field, but her dot ball, they don't run. Second delivery. And that one is played over the leg side field. Does that have enough to take it to the boundary? Yes, it does, just about. And Danni Wyatt is off the mark with a boundary and some pressure immediately relieved. Well, that is a welcome start for England. It is Nonkululeko Mlaba's left-arm spin. And I think had the leg slip fielder Marizanne Kapp been a little bit further back, she would have gotten that. Wyatt deciding to chance her arm. Good start for England. And basically both Wyatt and Dunkley are going to look to try and play with some circumspection, the way Wolvaardt and Brits did. Not look for any stupid shots. And that is a terrible delivery, which goes wide. It beats the batsman, beats the batswoman, beats the wicketkeeper, and that goes to the boundary for 4 wides. So, these are welcome runs, and this is a welcome start for England, but, playing and missing that, and the wicketkeeper, Jafta, completely missing that. And after 3 balls, England are 9 without loss. The run rate of 18 and over. But, that is played into the field. And they're appealing for a possible run out, but I think it's fair to say that, it has gone to the video umpire, but Sophia Dunkley should be safe because she ran that quite well. Just need to make sure that her bat was grounded, though. Yeah, her bat was grounded. Excellent cricket from England. Good fielding from South Africa. Fine cricket all around. But she is not out. England are 10 without loss after 4 balls. And so Mlaba has 2 balls left. She's done brilliantly this tournament, but her first over hasn't been impressive so far. And it's another wide ball, which could have been let go, but was instead played to the leg slip fielder, Marizanne Kapp. So a dot ball there. And you can see a packed offside field. So Dunkley's going to have a lot of work to do to pierce that field. But that is a brilliant shot played down the ground, straight to the long on / mid on fielder, Chloe Tryon. And after the first over, England are 11 without loss. Now, I know that Hanno will normally try and change the score every time there's a boundary, but, you know, sometimes you've also got to just make sure that the game is allowed to flow. And I'm trying to give you a good description of everything that happens. So hopefully, if you're still watching, you will see what's going on. And now it's the turn of fast bowling to come in. Shabnim Ismail, who will come into the attack. Experienced bowler who has taken over 100 T20 international wickets for her country. And a lot will rest on her shoulders as she bowls to Sophia Dunkley. Right arm over the wicket to the right-handed batsman. And an appeal for an LBW, but the umpire isn't interested. Do South Africa decide to review that one? Well, Sune Luce is thinking about it. 4, 3, 2, and she says no. I think maybe the fact that it was straying down the leg probably saved Dunkley there, because it did look as though it hit her on the pad. I didn't see any sign of an edge on the bat. But Shabnim getting some swing. Top shot by Ismail, and that goes through the fielder at mid-on, and that will go to the boundary. So a poor fielding attempt there from the mid-on fielder, and that has led to another boundary for England. 15 without loss. And what should have been a dot ball ended up being a 4. Ayabonga Kaka there, the unfortunate fielder, whose leg ended up guiding that all the way to the boundary. So both White and Dunkley are on 5 off 4. And that is played straight back down the ground. A beautiful shot, but excellently fielded by the South African captain, Sune Luce. And that will just be a single. At 27, one of the youngest captains in the tournament, leading a team quite admirably, which had been through a little bit of turmoil with the exclusion of ex-captain Danny van Niekerk. She's united the team very well, made some good bowling changes and field placings. Also consulted her senior cricketers as often as she could. 4th delivery, and a swing and a miss, no edge, straight through to the wicketkeeper. That's a dot ball. And Wyatt is the batsman now, and she needs to play with a little bit more circumspection. Dunkley telling her to just cool it a bit. Five runs off this over, 11 off the previous one from Laba, and I think it's fair to say that the left-arm spinner might not be called back. And that goes beyond the wicketkeeper, and that will go for 4 byes. And Ismail hoping to try and, bounce the batsman out, but the swing took it a little bit too far. Wyatt doing the right thing and ducking. The wicketkeeper, Jafta, unable to get a hold of that. And, pretty poor attempt from the wicketkeeper there. 4 byes. More very welcome runs for England. Last ball of the over. And that is guided to Third man for a single by Danny Wyatt, so she will keep the strike. And after 2 overs, England are 21 without loss and going quite swimmingly. But again, you just never know what could possibly happen. Whoopsie daisies. So England are 21 for no loss, and they need another 144. And I think if you could perhaps say that the pressure is getting to the Proteas right now. Did really well to take initiative away from England, but if they lose this match, I think it's fair to say that the last few wickets by Sophie Ecclestone and the dot balls that England were able to bowl will cost South Africa. But still, there's 18 overs left, a long way to go. And you see the ex-England captain Nasser Hussain in the commentary box. Marizanne Kapp into the attack. And that is quite stylishly played, but that goes straight to the mid-wicket fielder for a dot ball. Kapp, of course, coming in with a late cameo, giving the ball a good clap near the end. And it was Tamsin Brits over there who fielded that quite superbly. Starring, of course, with that brilliant knock of 68 when South Africa batted. England are going along swimmingly and they cannot afford to lose any wickets, but this could very well be the stage for Marizanne Kapp to shine. 7 wickets in the tournament, the best of 2 for 13. Could she improve on that today? Well, that's probably not the way to do it. Excellent shot. Does that just go to the boundary? No. Great fielding there from Shabnim Ismail over at long off, and that restricts England to 2. And Danny Wyatt there doing the smart thing, playing the ball over the field. There will be a boundary check, but you can see that Shab Ismail's foot was not touching the boundary rope when she did that. There was no part of her body that was touching the boundary. Her finger is also just before the boundary. So it's a welcome save. Wonderful to see a senior cricketer like her diving around, doing so magnificently. And Hanno's had to leave the stream, but probably just as well, because he's not going to enjoy what he's watching right now. I mean, what I'm watching right now. Well, apparently that hard work has gone to waste because the umpires have ruled against Shabnim. I think it's probably because her foot was on the boundary edge, which was made by the boundary board. So that is, in fact, a boundary which is credited to Danny Wyatt. 2 more runs to her and 2 more runs to England's total. Kapp responding with a dot ball, right arm over the wicket to the right-handed Danny Wyatt. And yeah, you could see that the boards had been sort of moved out of the natural position and her foot was on the boundary marker. So 4 runs. And a shout for a leg before wicket, but I think that was going down leg. And Danny Wyatt needs, again, to be very circumspect. The last thing that England need is to lose a wicket. She has played a good knock this tournament. And certainly the batswomen of England have looked in more than decent nick. The last thing they want to do is lose any wickets and put pressure on the incoming batswomen. 2 deliveries left. Nice delivery, nicely played down to mid-wicket. Sort of an underarm throw from Sune Loose, which completely missed. But that is a single for Danny Wyatt, taking England to 26 without loss after almost 3 overs. And the umpires are Claire Polasak and Jacqueline Williams. 96 T20 internationals, 99 T20 internationals between them, rather. Williams on 56 and Polasak on 43. West Indies and Australia being represented. Last delivery of the over. And that is intelligently played by Sophia Dunkley all the way down to the third man boundary. 9 runs off the over. And England are going along very swimmingly at 10 and over. 30 for no loss after 3. Whoops. I keep forgetting to change one very important detail. Got to be professional. And it's still too early for me to be a little bit comfortable because this South African team have certainly shown that they're a top bowling unit, but I think Laba succumbed to nerves in her first over. She might possibly be called back to bowl in the latter overs, just like Sophie Eccleston did, and get her wickets there. And we'll see how that goes. So far, 30 runs off 3, 10 and over. I am a happy chappy. And it is Ayabonga Kaka who can definitely swing the ball coming in to bowl the 4th over. She was guilty of a poor piece of fielding, which cost a boundary. And her first ball, right arm over the wicket to the right-handed Danny White, was played down to 3rd man for a single. That takes England to 31 for no loss. Alice Capsey is will be the batswoman to come in. And a rather dangerous piece of play there from Sophia Dunkley, trying to come down to a more straight delivery from Kaka. Swing and a miss, no edge to the wicketkeeper Yafta. And some anxious faces in the England dressing room. Bear in mind, this is still in the power play, and as great as they've as the start has been, anything can still go wrong. So I think the England batswomen will do well to adopt the approach that Laura Woolvart and Tasmin Brits did. And once again, beautifully played down to 3rd man. Dunkley had exposed her stumps and was in danger of getting bowled, but played that that glance quite brilliantly. And these are very irritating runs to concede, especially if you're a wicketkeeper. And with no 3rd man fielder there, fine enough, those runs are right for the picking. 35 for no loss after 3.5 overs. Still at 10 and over. And that is played straight to the point fielder who misfields it, and that allows the batswomen to run for a single. And that takes Sophia Dunkley to 15 off 9 with Danny White on 12 off 13. 36 for no loss. I remember saying at the very beginning of the stream that this was a good toss to win for Sune Loose. But so far, the bowlers have not backed up the batswomen. Played back down the ground, but that's going to go straight to Sune Loose, who's at mid-off. Dot ball. Will they pick a boundary off this last ball to keep the run rate at 10 and over, or a dot ball will keep it at 9 and over? Still an impressive start. They just have to keep their wickets intact. Well, that answers my question. A sort of a slash shot, which goes right between the point and extra cover fielders for 4, and that takes England to 40 without loss. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Again, I'm not going to celebrate. You will not see me celebrating. These are wonderful, wonderful runs for England. But bear in mind, they still, even if they go at this rate, they can only potentially win in the 17th over. And they've managed to score more runs in these first 4 overs than South Africa did in their first 6. 2 overs of the power play left. What will England do? Well, they didn't split the field. It was just over the point fielder there. And you could say that Danny Wyatt was very lucky. Oh, that was close. That was close. The backward point fielder there very nearly snaffled that. It is Laba now coming back into the attack, and her second delivery is hoiked back down the ground for 4. Left arm around the wicket, and Sophia Dunkley is getting into her stride. Not necessarily a bad delivery, but no real turn in that. I mean, it certainly didn't deviate too much, not too much in terms of flight, and hoiked back over for another boundary. And same result, back over Mlaba's head for another boundary. That takes Dunkley to 23 off 12. And I think the England batswomen have decided to attack the left-arm spinner, who's now gone for 19 off her first 9 deliveries. And this was very lucky again, because it wasn't too far away from being caught by Mlaba, but it was hit so hard, I don't think she had time to react. And you could see the look of anguish on Sune Luce's face. England are 48 for no loss. And to put this into perspective, South Africa got their 50 at the end of the 8th over. And that is played all the way down to the long on mid-wicket area, down the track, played to the onside for a third consecutive boundary, and that gives England their 50 in the 5th over. And they are looking to try and finish this off in a hurry, but it's all happening out there. It's all happening out there. 2 balls left. And I think Dunkley was again overzealous, trying to go for another drive, but ending up missing that. Almost an LBW shout, but nothing really in it. So last delivery of the 5th over. Can Mlaba bounce back with a wicket? Looks as though she can. Well, she could have done if the fielder had been close up, had that been a mid-off instead of a long-off. But that single means she will keep strike, and after 5 overs, England are 53 without loss. Any comments? Don't talk too soon. There's still some time. Of course, the advertisements on my screen are mainly dedicated to the Indian women's cricket team, who gave Australia a huge fright and fight last night, but it wasn't all right for them on the night. And now last over the power play, Shabnim Ismail back into the attack, right arm over the wicket to the right-handed Sophia Dunkley, who holds out. And Dunkley was clearly trying to repeat the heroics of going over the top, but couldn't really get enough bat on that. And England lose their first wicket. And Shabnim Ismail provides the breakthrough. And clearly they're not able to get any kind of coordination with that shot. And Tasmin Brits says, out you go at mid-wicket. And Shabnim Ismail is happy. A breezy 28 off 16 for Sophia Dunkley. England are now 53 for 1. The opening partnership has been broken, but of course that brings Alice Capsey into the picture. She comes to the crease. She's also been a batswoman in decent form in this tournament. Has a half century to her name too. And so while South Africa weren't able to get 40 in their first 6 overs, they had an unbroken opening partnership, which lasted for 96 runs. This opening partnership has now already been broken. And this wicket could very well give South Africa the confidence to try to keep running in and running hard at the England batswomen. We see Alice Capsey here, best of 51, 73 runs, though, in these 5 innings. So she's going to have a role to play, and she's not going to want to give her wicket away with any kind of injudicious shots. But that wicket has come at the best possible time for South Africa. And that is a better played second delivery, but that goes straight to the backward point fielder. And you can see over there, once again, trying to hit over the top, but only picking out Tasmin Brits at mid-wicket. The South Africans are happy. They knew that they needed to break this partnership, and that happened through this experienced duo of Tasmin Brits and Shabnim Ismail. Third delivery of the over. Right arm over the wicket to the right-handed Capsey. And it's a second catch at mid-wicket, and Brits is claiming it. And it's a second ball duck for Alice Capsey, and South Africa are cock-a-hoop. Well, the delivery from Ismail obviously was trying to force Capsey to take evasive action. She was trying to sort of, again, play into the leg side, but again, Tasmin Brits coming over there and pulling off what is arguably the catch of the tournament. And what a time to do it. What a match she's had so far. A breezy, brutal half century, 2 catches at mid-wicket. And England, after their rollicking start, have now been pegged back. Shabnim Ismail with 2 wickets, Tasmin Brits with 2 catches. It is all happening out there. And it just goes to show that when you're batting and batting well, you just cannot afford to get complacent. Oh, for Pete's sake, man. That, of course, brings England's in-form batswoman Nat Sciver-Brunt to the crease. And she is there because of a brilliantly taken catch by Tasmin Brits to get rid of Alice Capsey for a second ball duck. And you can see she is cock-a-hoop. Replaying the delivery in real time. Terrific stuff there. She had no right to get that, but she went to her right and snaffled it up just right. So that is played all the way to the square leg fielder, Ayabonga Khaka. And you can see that those 2 wickets have given the South African fans in the stands huge voice. Of course, after the power play, England still need to get their runs at about 8 and over, which isn't impossible. With the field being spread, I'm sure that will give England some time to sort of get in. And Capsey is absolutely distraught. Once again, played onto the leg side, splitting the 2 fielders. Khaka and Tryon sort of combining there to minimize the damage. And that will be some welcome runs there to sort of stop the bleeding, as it were. 120 wickets for Shabnim Ismail, another landmark. Only South African with 100+ wickets in T20 internationals. 2 runs there to take England to 55 for 2. Last delivery of the power play. And over the shoulder. And after the power play is over, England are 55 for 2. And this match is now quite interestingly poised. Less than 8 and over is now the target, thanks to that brilliant start. They were going swimmingly at about 10 and over, but then that over from Shabnim Ismail sort of pegged them back. Now, of course, this is where the field is going to be spread. So Wolvaardt and Brits were able to take advantage of the field being spread to run some good singles and then punish an occasional bad ball. That is exactly the sort of appearance that England will have to adopt. But with Kaka coming back into the attack, if she can get some good swing, she could put the batswomen in a bit of trouble. At the moment, there's Danni Wyatt in the company of Nat Sciver-Brunt. And obviously the field is now spread. Plenty of gaps on the leg side. The vice-captain, Chloe Tryon, is chatting to her right now. Over the wicket, Kaka to the right-hander, Danni Wyatt. And that is once again brilliantly guided all the way to backward point. And the misfield there from the fielder means that they will run for a second run. Mlaba there with the Nonkululeko Mlaba there with the misfield, which saw them concede a second run. And so Danni Wyatt has a top score of 59. Nat Sciver-Brunt has a top score of 81. So already these two are in the middle, and they're going to have a lot of responsibility on their shoulders. But the second delivery is also guided very well down to the third man region. And seeing some highlights from the power play where they were going at 10 and over at one stage, but ended up being pegged back. Mlaba in particular being very expensive. But Tamsin Brits claiming two brilliant catches at mid-wicket, and it sort of stopped the bleeding in a way. And a single play there by Nat Sciver-Brunt all the way down to mid-wicket. The scoreboard ticking. Sciver-Brunt has been the best fielder in this tournament, but Grace Harris has had more, from Australia, has had more run-outs. Nat Sciver-Brunt has also affected 2 run-outs. So fielding is what wins you games. And that is powered down the ground by Danni Wyatt, getting to the line of that quite beautifully, sort of making sure she had the full face of the bat against that, back down the ground, over to the long on boundary 4 runs, an attempted slower ball from the looks of it, picked beautifully. No, that wasn't going to be caught by anyone. And certainly Chloe Tryon standing over there at mid-on had no chance. So another welcome boundary. That takes Danni Wyatt to 23 off 18. 2 balls left in this over from Kaka. And that is well fielded by the substitute fielder, Delmi Tucker. Well, there's a South African fielder who's off the field, which explains Tucker being on as a substitute fielder. Last delivery, and that is down the leg side. That goes underneath Tucker and all the way to the what looks like the square leg boundary for 4. 12 runs off this over, and sort of a recovery, as it were, for England, who are now 67 for 2 after 7 overs, and they need 98 of 13. You see, Thangotherai? That's how simple it is. And I think it's fair to say that the England batswomen are now starting to get quite comfortable. If they start to get comfortable, this could very well be over before you know it. But what was expected to be a powerful display by the bowlers, hoping to find some swing, hasn't quite materialized. So maybe the decision to bat first wasn't the best decision. But I think the bowlers also, it has to be said, have not been able to find that kind of incisiveness in their deliveries. And so it is Marizanne Kapp who's come back into the attack to try to break up this partnership. Right arm over the wicket to the right-handed Nat Sciver-Brunt. And that shot is played all the way to the mid-off fielder, the South African captain, Sune Loose. Memories of that brilliant catch. And, ooh, it looks as though that catch has cost. Well, it hasn't quite cost her because she is on the field with a bandage to her left arm. Second delivery is comfortably played onto the leg side all the way to backward point. Will they run for two? Yes, they do. And that will be just fine. Thank you. So with that last over yielding 12, the run rate has now recovered to somewhere around 10, less than 10, in fact. And obviously, Brits isn't fielding at mid-wicket anymore. And of course, and that is an absolutely outrageous shot there. Played on the onside. I think Sciver-Brunt knew where the fielders were, and that split the mid-wicket and not the mid. It split the cover and mid-off fielders there. It was Tryon and Shabnim Ismail who were standing, and Ismail wasn't able to get that. Tryon at cover and Ismail at mid-off rather, and that's another 4 runs. So for some reason, England seem to be willing to deal in boundaries rather than singles. And what they're doing right now through Wyatt and Sciver-Brunt and what was done by Sophia Dunkley earlier is put the pressure back on the bowlers. And we see Marizanne Kapp's statistics. 93 matches for South Africa, 74 wickets with an economy rate of 5.46. An excellent power play bowler with good outswingers to the right-handed batsman. Didn't get to bowl much during the power play. And this fifth delivery is played all the way down to fine leg for a single. Once again, keeping the scoreboard ticking. And the win predictor still says that England have a more than 70% chance of winning this match. But you never know. A few wickets could put South Africa in the driving seat and England right up a gum tree. And as I say that, the final delivery of Marizanne Kapp's over is rather cleverly played down to third man by Danny Wyatt. So she shall retain the strike. And after 8 overs, England is 75 for 2. And they need another 90 runs of 12 overs. South African fans are still in fine voice, and the crowds during this tournament have been absolutely exemplary. A fact which Sune Loose has been quick to, highlight. And of course, we're seeing highlights now, segueing into that, of Brits' blistering, brutal knock of 68 off 55. She took the spinner, Sarah Glenn, to the cleaners. Number 1 batting display from the number 1, giving her some useful fantasy points. And there's the left-arm spinner, Nonkululeko Mlaba, back into the attack, 24 off her first 2 overs. And her first delivery is caressed straight through the cover region. And does that go to the boundary? Well, some really good work over there by Bosch, not once but twice. I just wonder, I think it's fair to say that 4 is the signal. Wyatt timing the ball beautifully. And we can see here that Bosch did some great work there to prevent the ball from going to the boundary, but it was still rolling all the way there. And I think her finger was adjudged to have touched the boundary marker. Yeah, her finger was, in fact, adjudged to have touched the boundary marker as she got the ball. So that is, in fact, 4 runs. Very unfortunate. Excellent work from the fielder, but all in vain. It just goes to show that, effort sometimes can go unrewarded, but you must still put the effort in. And very unfortunately, these are runs which are going to go against Mlaba. 28 now off 13 deliveries. How does she respond to this? Well, it's played all the way down to the square leg / short backward point fielder for a single, and that takes England to 80 for 2 off 8.2 overs. Heather Knight is the next batsman in, followed by Amy Jones, the wicketkeeper, Catherine Seither-Brunt, Nat's spouse and bowler. And once again, that is also played all the way down to square leg for a single. Marizanne Kapp coming in with the throw. And now we see some more circumspect play from England because they know that their run rate is absolutely magnificent. After 8 overs, South Africa had just crossed 50, whereas England were on 75. And these runs are going to continue to be very useful indeed. And an ill-advised shot, really, because that ball was going completely wide and could have been very well left alone. Instead, Wyatt hoped to play that, didn't go anywhere, and that's a dot ball. 2 deliveries left for Mlaba, and a play and a miss, straight through to the wicketkeeper Jafta. Last delivery, and down the ground, but straight to the mid-off fielder. And so an excellent recovery after being hit for 4 off the first ball. England at 81 for 2 after 9 overs, going at 9 and over. And they need 84 runs off 12 overs at exactly 7 and over. So they can afford now to start, dealing in singles. Certainly, boundaries are welcome, but not really, vital at this point. We are approaching the midway point, and it'll be very interesting to see how they play this next over. At this midway point, of course, South Africa was starting to put the afterburners on, and they really went hammer and tongs in the final overs. And it's Nadine de Klerk, the all-rounder, who will be coming to bowl. Sort of a right-arm, medium-ish seamer. Has taken 1 wicket this tournament, hoping to break this partnership. And that will be called, well, there would have been a bye, but some sharp fielding at the moment has prevented them from running. That went through the batsman, past the wicketkeeper. Yeah, obviously hoping to back away and play, but completely missing it. That goes off Jafta's gloves, but the leg slip fielder was there to help out. Second delivery, right arm over the wicket. And that is played through the covers, but that goes straight to deep cover for a single. And England are still going on strong. They haven't lost any more wickets. They're going to look to try and get to the halfway point, not losing another wicket, not wanting to add any pressure to any incoming batswoman. And it looks as though it is a packed offside field with deep extra cover. But again, that is the way to play. You sort of play it into the ground. That goes all the way to the cover fielder for a single. And singles will be the name of the game for England at this point. And South Africa are in a bit of trouble because they are 1 over behind. They wouldn't want to risk getting fined for bowling their overs slowly. And that is an excellent shot played by Nat Seither-Brunt all the way down to the deep mid-wicket fielder for another single. bringing Danny Wyatt back on strike. Is that Brian Lara in the crowd? Nah. And Danny Wyatt plays that straight to the backward point fielder, so there won't be a single there. Last delivery of this over. A single will keep the run rate at 9. But this is a good over from Nadine de Klerk in terms of not really conceding too many runs. Laura Vulvart there, who also starred with the bat, doing some excellent work there at backward point. Slap back down the ground, but once again straight to the mid-off fielder. And so at the midway point, 3 runs off that over. England are 84 for 2. Just over halfway through. And they need another 81 to make sure they get to this target. Of course, if we take a look at Nat Sciver-Brunt's innings of 81, that might have been scored in that many balls. If memory serves me right, that was scored in the final group stage match against Pakistan, when England racked up that magnificent total, and she actually scored it a 40 balls. So less than 60. And she certainly took the Pakistani women bowlers to the cleaners that day. But this isn't Pakistan, this is South Africa. And England at this halfway stage are more than halfway there, but they need to see it through. South Africa will still feel that if they take a few more wickets, they will have England in more than a spotted bowler. And of course, confirmation of the final to be played this Sunday, the 26th of February. We will be certainly looking to provide you coverage of that here on the Coach's Corner. Will it be a Sanzar Classic between Australia and South Africa, or will it be an Ashes Classic in the Southern Cape? The answers will be given to you in this next hour or so of play. And at the moment let's take a look at the comments. Come on, England, as always. Not looking good for us just now. It's okay. It's better than expected, actually. Big up DR. And DR, great commentary. Thank you very much indeed, and welcome to the channel. If you're a subscriber, glad to have you. If you haven't subscribed, please do. This is a top channel to which to subscribe. You won't regret it. And highlights, of course, of a magic moment between India and England. I believe it was from the 2020 Championship in 2018. England, who are good at chasing, and certainly chased down that target from India with alacrity. Ayabonga Kaka back into the attack. The first delivery is exceptionally wide, but it is played by Nat Sciver-Brunt, hoping to try to guide that down to the third man boundary, but short third man coming up and saying no way. And that was, of course, Amy Jones and Nat Sciver-Brunt, who were the heroines of that match. Danny Wyatt and Tanny Beaumont were the wickets that were lost. But England comprehensively beating India with nearly 3 overs to spare in that match by 8 wickets. And so chasing isn't too difficult for England, but it must be said that the South African bowlers haven't really been able to make the most of the brilliant start that their batswomen have given to them. Plenty of gaps on the onside, a more comparatively packed offside field, so Kaka needs to bowl to that line. And it's a wicket, and it's a third catch for Townsend Brits, and it's Danny Wyatt who's played magnificently for her 34 off 29, who tried to get a little bit greedy, but a brilliant field placing there and leg slip doing the damage. England have lost their third wicket. It is, I will just edit that right now, 85 for 3. So obviously Kaka's delivery not really threatening very much, and Wyatt was trying to guide that down to the leg side, not succeeding. And this wicket will probably bring the England captain Heather Knight into the fray, but England are in a bit of a spot of bother now, 85 for 3 after 10.3. And they need another 80 runs off 57 balls. And as expected, it is the England captain Heather Knight who's come in to play. And she's now got a job to do. The team were going well, and as I predicted, if a wicket would be lost, it could be a case of cats amongst the pigeons. Best of 32, not quite fired during this tournament, but today is a good day for her to try to get into the action and stand up and make herself counted. Knight to the rescue? We'll just see. It is Ayabonga Kaka who's come back into the attack and responded with the wicket. Tasmin Brits has a third catch of the innings. And Heather Knight gets off the mark with not quite tentative prod, but certainly a play down to the mid-on area for a single. And that brings Nat Cyber-Brunt on strike. And Cyber-Brunt plays that all the way down to the mid-wicket fielder, Nadine de Klerk, who restricts them to a single. A replay of the wicket again. Obviously, White hoping to try and go over to the leg side, but didn't quite get the elevation she wanted. And Tasmin Brits saying, Baydanki. And you can see how distraught she was losing her wicket, because she knew that as a set batsman, she could have taken them through. But it is Heather Knight and Nat Cyber-Brunt up there at the moment. And they guide England through to 88 for 3 at the end of the 11th over. Still needing 77 of 54 balls. Well, this is where it's going to get really difficult, because this is actually the stage where South Africa were able to start turning on the afterburners. Having lost a wicket, England can't afford to go hammer and tongs with the England captain Heather Knight and Nat Cyber-Brunt at the crease. They've got to play more circumspectively. They've got to play with respect to the bowlers. Not too much respect, but at least respect their wickets enough not to give them away cheaply. Just replaying the England wickets to fall, all thanks to mainly thanks to some brilliant catching from Tasmin Brits, really. But these are wickets nonetheless, and South Africa will feel as though they've got a chance. Nadine de Klerk to Heather Knight, and dot ball over there. Possible overthrow? Nope. And that's 2 dot balls that have been played. And so this is where South Africa can start to exert a little bit of pressure. Because now the required run rate has started to creep up a little bit. England are at 8 and over, but it's crept up to nearly 9 for them. And they will need to start to look to get a boundary or two. Yeah, the run rate has now just crept up to nearly 9 and over. England are just below 8. And not really advisable to try and play any of those balls which are already going down well wide. You're better off leaving them alone. But obviously the batsmen feel as though they want to try and play at them, and that's exactly what Cyver Brunt did there. That was going all the way down to the 7th stump, if you will, and Brunt saw it fit to play across and try and get back to that, and they ended up running a single with Heather Knight getting back in by the skin of her teeth. Now exactly 9 and over is required. Well, this time around, Heather Knight was able to do what Danni Wyatt couldn't do, playing that all the way to the backward point fielder for a single. And this is where England cannot afford to start going slow. They've got to set in, and Danni Wyatt will look back at her dismissal and think, oh boy, have I done wrong. England can still hit in the latter overs. Played back down the ground, but that is well fielded by the South African captain, Sune Loose. And after 12 overs, 4 runs from that over, England have been pegged back quite brilliantly. And they now need 73 runs off 48 balls. More than 9 and over. With 8 overs left, there might not be too much time for Heather Knight to get herself completely settled in. And Cyver Brunt will have to start hitting. We know that Cyver Brunt can definitely hit, but you can see that with the graph analysis, South Africa are starting to peg back England more or less to where they were at this stage of the innings. And now it is a different type of left-arm spin. The vice-captain, Chloe Tryon, a best of 2 for 12 against New Zealand. More of a shoulder ball bowler, and she bowls to Nat Cyver Brunt, who plays that first ball to mid-wicket for a single. England shouldn't leave themselves in danger of having to do too much with the balls left decreasing. Attempted reverse sweep by, that was the captain, and that goes all the way down. Excellent fielding by Mlaba will restrict them to 2. So excellent work from the England captain to use the reverse sweep, but good fielding from Nonkululeko Mlaba restricts that to 2 instead of 4. Played that perfectly past the wicketkeeper, but some good work there to pick it up with her wrong hand, and Wolvaart sending the throw back in. But down the track, is there a fielder in the deep? No. And that goes for 6, and that brings up England's 100. And so Heather Knight has decided enough is enough. It's time to hit out, and not a moment too soon. Well, it looks as though the spinners are now going to be targeted, as they probably should be, one would think. Certainly, you can see the arm of Chloe Tryon going through a lot more quickly. That next delivery is quite nicely played all the way down to the extra cover region for a single. But the England captain, Heather Knight, dancing down the track, clearing the boundary rope, and that is a welcome 6. And a very risky shot there from Nat Cyver Brunt, and she is out LBW. But she immediately opts to review that decision because she believes she got some glove or bat to that. And certainly it could have looked to have been an inspired decision to bring Chloe Tryon on. Obviously, Cyver Brunt succumbing to a bit of a rush of blood, but she believes that she is safe, and we're going to take a look at that right now. And if she departs, then this could put England in trouble, because with 64 runs to get off 40-odd balls, this will not look good. England review. Well, there does seem to be a little bit of a deviation, and I think, does the replay show that she got some glove to it? Yep, definite glove, definite bat, so she has been saved. Excellent use of the review by England, and Natsaiva Brunt is saved. So, 10 runs off 5 balls. England handed a lifeline. Will they make the most of it? Down the ground, and that has to count as a dropped catch. It was straight back at Tryon, and she leapt for it with her left hand, which is her strong hand, and just couldn't get on the end of that. So 10 runs off that over, all happening out there, and England are trying to fight their way back, but they still have a little bit to do. After 13 overs, they need 63 runs off 42 balls, still at the rate of 9 and over. And this is going to be the problem, because the later on you go into the innings, the more the run rate creeps up. So you are going to have to start dealing in boundaries. And obviously that 6 from Heather Knight was welcome. But a huge scare for England in those last 2 balls. An LBW shout that was overturned on review, and then a drop catch from the bowler. It's squeaky bum time if you're an England fan. Nadine de Klerk back into the attack, and that first delivery is played in a perfectly polished manner by Heather Knight all the way down to the deep cover region. Replay of that catch, and it was, well, it did get inside her left palm, but I think it just popped out in the end, and Natsaiva Brunt knows she's a lucky lass. Another excellent shot, but this time that finds the cover fielder. And with every dot ball that's being played, the frustration will get a little bit higher. We all know that Natsaiva Brunt can hit, but as I've said, this is not the Pakistan bowling attack. And England are batting second, not first. And Saiva Brunt does an excellent job of playing that all the way to the deep mid-wicket area, and they run for a very welcome 2. Tasman Brits again doing some outstanding work in the field. And England's target now goes down to 60 runs off 39, still at 9 and over. They're going to need some boundaries, and they're going to need them very, very soon. And this is good bowling from the South Africans, drying up the runs. And this delivery is played all the way down to mid/long on for a single. Singles won't do it for England, I'm afraid. Play and a miss there from Heather Knight, looking to try to guide that to third man, but completely missing the line. A sort of a slower dolly there from Nadine de Klerk. And a wry smile there from Natsaiva Brunt. But she knows that with every dot ball, the pressure just increases that bit more. And attempting to go down the track, but only finding the mid-wicket fielder. That will be a single. Heather Knight will retain the strike. 5 runs off that over. England are 107 for 3, and they need 58 off 36. Let's take a look at the scorecard and see which bowlers can be brought back on to bowl. I think it's fair to say that Nonkululeko Mlaba won't be brought back. Ismail has 2 overs left and has definitely looked very impressive with 2 wickets just for 8. Marizanne Kapp has 2 overs left, an over left each for Kaka and de Klerk, and Tryon has already bowled 1 over. So Sune Luce has some really good options here. She might decide to bowl out Ismail, Kapp, Kaka, and de Klerk. It is Marizanne Kapp to bowl her 3rd over, bowling to Heather Knight, who plays that first ball all the way down to the mid-wicket, deep mid-wicket fielder, and that'll just be a single. And again, singles are not going to do it. They need boundaries. But this is some really good work from South Africa. And the win predictor has now started to go a little bit in favor of South Africa, still marginally in favor of England by 53 to 47%. But, you know, when you're chasing, you've got that pressure on you. And if Cytherbrunt gets out, it could be bye-bye England. But Amy Jones can definitely hit, though. And that delivery is nicely played. That's past the cover fielder. And that goes underneath Sune Loose for a boundary. And that is some as a welcome boundary, some welcome runs there for England. I think it was Chloe Tryon there who was standing at cover. And both she and her captain, Sune Loose, were unable to stop that from reaching the boundary. So are England going to look to target Marizanne Kapp? That next ball is played again by Nat Cytherbrunt all the way down to the deep mid-wicket area for a single. Shabnim Ismail, the fielder. And the target decreases to 52 off 33. 6 runs off these first 3 balls. So England now need to show more of this intent because the bowlers that Loose will use will certainly not be bowling any loose deliveries. (51 off 32). South Africa benefiting from some terrific home support. And that shot is once again played all the way down to the deep mid-wicket fielder. But a hesitation. And does that give them room to run for a 2? Yes, it does. And so 9 runs off this over. Very welcome runs indeed. But the run rate is now getting up to close to 10. So Knight and Cytherbrunt need to get a move on. And that final shot is played all the way down to the mid-on fielder. That will be a single. So 10 runs off that over. This is how they were before. I'm going to change it. England 117 for 3 off 15 overs. And they need 48 runs off 30 balls. At a run rate of 9.6. So, despite losing fewer wickets, England are actually on the back foot. And the bowlers that Sune Loose has to call on have done a really good job so far. I don't think she'll call back Mlaba. Shabnim has 2 left. Kapp has 1 left. And it could very well be, as I've said, that Ayabonga Kaka and Nadine de Klerk could be bowled out. And it is Ismail back into the attack. 8 dot balls in her 2 overs. 4 runs and over, 2 wickets. She has looked quite impressive. And she's now bowling to Nat Cytherbrunt, who's on 28 off 28. And the first ball is nicely paddled away over the head of the wicketkeeper and the leg slip fielder to the boundary for a very welcome boundary. Definitely relieving the pressure. And certainly her quality and experience coming to the fore here. Catherine Spouse. Catherine, I'm sure, will be very happy to see that after that last over she bowled, which didn't go to plan in South Africa's innings. And once again, down the leg side, and Nat Cytherbrunt guides that to the fine leg boundary for another boundary. The target has been whittled down to 40 off 28. And these are really, really welcome runs for England, but you can just tell that South Africa are tighten up. Ismail, once again, not quite able to get the swing she wanted. Comes out of her hand going down towards leg, and Cyver says, I'll help you get that to the boundary. 4 more runs for me, and thank you. And it looks as though Ismail might be changing her bowling angle. She was bowling over the wicket when her right arm was on the left of the wicket. No, she hasn't. She's still over the wicket. And that's a better delivery. Saivor Brunt digging that out and deciding not to take the single, so it's 40 off 27. And that brings England's run rate back to above 8, but they still need close to 9 and over now. South Africa, for all intents and purposes, still are in the driving seat. And one more wicket could really change the course of this match. Play and a miss, but that will be a bye. Goes beyond the wicketkeeper, Jafta, who's had a difficult time of it. I know she had, when South Africa played New Zealand, she was definitely playing really well. But today she hasn't taken a catch or had a stumping. And you can clearly see Shabnim Ismail is not happy with her wicketkeeper. 39 from 26, still 9 and over required. And that is played all the way to the backward point fielder for a single. So Heather Knight will face the last ball of the over. Just a recap of the wickets to fall. 2 catches by Tasmin Brits at mid-wicket, and those were, in fact, Shabnim Ismail's 2 wickets today. But she's conceded 10 off this over. 2 boundaries, a leg bye, and a single. Another boundary will really help England's cause. A wicket will definitely swing it back in favour of South Africa. And not the best delivery to bowl, and that goes straight to the boundary beyond the despairing dive of Nadine de Klerk. Well played by Heather Knight. So, 14 runs off the over. England are 131 for 3. They need 34 runs off 24 balls. So, is this the moment that England turn on the afterburners and see themselves home? The required run rate has now, for all intents and purposes, come down to below 9, and England's current run rate is still above 8. Nat Saivor Brunt is now the top scorer with 40, 10 away from a very well-deserved half-century, but certainly a hard-working 50 compared to the way she's batted earlier. And the 2 left-arm spinners between them have conceded 40 runs off 4 overs, so they're not going to be asked to bowl back. 1 over each for Ismail, Cap, de Klerk, and Cap. And it is de Klerk who bowls this over. First ball of that is sent all the way to the backward point fielder for 1. And thankfully for South Africa, no overthrows. You can see England were somewhat choked during the middle overs, the 7th to the 15th over, getting their runs only at 6.89, 62 runs in that. That power play was really where they did a lot of damage, though. And that is hit high. Does that have enough to go? No, it doesn't. And Nat Saivor Brunt is out. And Tasmin Brits, standing at long on, has taken her 4th catch of the innings. And England are now staring down the barrel at 132 for 4 after 16.2 overs. Now, this could very well be the momentum swinging back South Africa's way. 33 runs off 22 balls, still at 9 and over. Nat Saivor Brunt obviously seeing the need to try to go over the top, but didn't get enough bat on that. It was just too high, and Tasmin Brits once again saying, "Bay Danke." England are 132 for 4. And this brings the wicketkeeper, Amy Jones, to the crease, and Amy Jones will, in fact, be on strike. So, set batsman getting out at the most inopportune time. That is the story of England's innings. First, it was Sophia Dunkley, then it was Danni Wyatt, and now Natalie Saivor Brunt. Amy Jones hasn't done too badly in this tournament, an average of 33, top score of 47, 99 runs in this tournament. A single will take her to 100 for the tournament, but she will obviously want to get herself settled in. The problem is, with 22 balls left, she might not have time to get herself settled in, but we know she can definitely hit. And that deep fielder there, doing the job. And that Seiver Brunt is absolutely angry with herself. De Klerk doing the business. Jones gets off the mark with a single down to the mid-on fielder. That was, in fact, Tasmin Brits, who ran in all the way to prevent that from being anything more than a single. And England have now got a target of 32 from 21. So it's going to be difficult because Nadine stays strong. Well, she is strong right now. And another single played all the way to the same area of the field, but they're going to run for two. Will they get it? Yes, they will. The throw was a little bit too high for the bowler, and no chance of a run out there. 30 off 20. And, ooh, I should change that thing. It is 132 for 4. Excellent shot played there to the backward point fielder. Marizanne Kapp doing the business. Another single taking them to 29 from 19. They're going to need another double here to take it to 27 off 18. But now the run rate once again starting to creep up on them. And the danger is that they're being left a little bit too much to do. Come on, England, let's do this. Keep hitting at the like button. Last ball. And once again played all the way down to the mid-wicket area. And this time the fielders decide not to chance Tasmin Brits' arm. And so 6 runs off that over and a wicket. England are now 137 for 4 after 17 overs. And they need... Actually, they're 138 for 4, I think. Yeah, they are 137. And they're going to need 28 runs off 18 deliveries. So they've still got plenty of wickets intact, but they've now been pegged back quite magnificently. And it was at this stage of the innings that South Africa really hit the afterburners through Tasmin Brits and Marizanne Kapp. So Amy Jones and Heather Knight have a job to do. And it is going to be Ayamonga Kaka back into the attack. And as I predicted, she will be bowling her final over, as Nadine Klerk just did, leaving 1 over each for Marizanne Kapp and Shabnim Ismail. So, Amy Jones, the wicketkeeper batsman, close in offside field, a spread out leg side field. Where does she go? Poor decision there. And she obviously tried to go through, pierce the field, but all she did was find the fielder at cover. And England are now staring down the barrel of what would be a heartbreaking defeat. 137 for 5 after 17.1 overs. And their job has just gotten even more difficult because with Amy Jones now gone, it's down to Sophie Ecclestone and the bowlers to try and help do the job. 2 off 3. Amy Jones came in with a bit of a reputation. She's got 100 runs for the tournament, but that simply isn't good enough. And now that brings Sophie Ecclestone to the crease. She started with the ball near the end of South Africa's innings, taking those 2 wickets. And now she'll be needed to do a job with the bat. Obviously, she would have wanted to come in. She wouldn't have been expecting to come in. But now South Africa are well on top, and it could very well be that we will see an Australia-South Africa final. I think England are going to look back on their bowling and say that they bowled one loose delivery too many. In addition, when it came to their batting, they just couldn't, take it forward. Sophie Ecclestone, right-handed batsman. Back down the ground, through the bowler's hands, but well fielded by Shabnim Ismail, and that will be a single. And now you can see how welcome that piece of fielding is, and you can see the aggression in South Africa. Wanted to try and pierce the field or go above the offside field, but didn't get the elevation she wanted. And for once, it's not Tasmin Brits who takes the catch. It is, I think that's Bosch who took that one. And will that be called a wide? Yes, it is. And that is going to be a welcome respite for England because, that will at least help chip a little bit more off their total without having to face a ball. Knight is now on 22. Can she play a captain's knock and see the team through? A play and a miss. And once again, it bounces off the wicketkeeper, Jafta, but no buys a run because that goes straight to the fielder at what looks like gully. And Jafta can afford a smile because she's had a difficult day of it. But the pendulum has now firmly swung South Africa's way, a 59% chance of winning. They just need 5 wickets or to restrict England to less than their total, and they are through to the final. Heather Knight obviously looking to try to play down the ground, but only succeeding in finding the mid-on fielder and deciding not to chance the arm. So Sophie Ecclestone will have at least one more ball to face this over. She played a pretty good shot to get off the mark, but all the pressure on her shoulders now. High in the air. Is there a fielder under it? Yes, there is. And that's the second wicket down. And once again, it is Bosch who takes it. And England are now almost certainly down and out. (140 for 6), need 25 runs off 13 balls. Chipped into the air. And the fielder, Bosch, saying, thank you very much indeed. So, 2 wickets in this Kaka over. A way of saying to Sophie Ecclestone, anything you can do, I can do better. And England are 140 for 6. And after Natalie Sciver-Brunt's innings of 40, it's the turn of Catherine Sciver-Brunt to try and help take part in the rescue act. And I forgot to change the score. It is actually 140 for 6. Sort of wait for this last delivery to get bowled, and I will make sure I change the scoreline. Kaka recovering magnificently. Catherine Sciver-Brunt. And could that be an LBW? Yes, it is! And England are committing suicide. The DRS timer times out. And it timed out just before they could review it. Well, apparently Knight has been very insistent on sending that to review, and we see Mr. Trollope back. And aren't you a happy chappy?
Yeah. She didn't review that in... Did she review that in time? I don't think she reviewed it in time.
I don't think she did, but the women are still out in the middle. I don't know if the umpires have taken...
they've given a review. That wasn't in time. That wasn't in time. Okay, let's see.
Beautifully swinging. Catching her plum. I think that's out. That is out.
That's
The
plum.
batswoman knew it. That looks plum to me. We're going to take a look and see if there's an edge. No edge from the looks of it. No, that clearly hit pad.
A review wasted.
In line, outside off. Going on to crash into middle. A wasted review from the England captain. Really more of a Hail Mary. And Ayabonga Kaka coming back magnificently with 3 wickets in her final over. 4 for 29 after 4 overs. And now 2 overs left to be bowled by Shabnim Ismail and Mariazan Cap. Excellent captaincy from Sune Loose. A golden duck for Catherine Seiver-Brunt to go with a pretty poor final over. And it will be all over bar the shouting.
Cap can take this over. Yes, she's taking this over. Give Ismail the last over. Give Ismail the last over.
Yeah. And so it is Sarah Glenn, the spinner, who's come on to join her captain, Heather Knight, who, for what it's worth for England's purposes, still has the strike. England need 25. Sarah Glenn's best is 26. But it could very well be too little too late, and it is Mariazan Cap to come back and try and redeem herself after going for 27 off her 3 overs. And that first delivery is played all the way to the leg slip field. It'll be a single, and that brings Sarah Glenn on strike. And we see now that England are falling apart like a pack of cards. Not a happy sight to see if you're an England fan like me, but credit to South Africa. They've bowled and fielded to a plan quite magnificently, and I am looking forward to seeing them in the final, trying to take on Australia and making sure that they won't get their starts. And just when it looked as though England had a good path to winning, South Africa pegged them back magnificently.
Oh.
And that counts as a bye.
Keep them out this over. Keep them out this over.
Yeah, so it's a good decision to run because at least it brings Heather Knight back on strike. There was no way that Sarah Glenn was going to taking advantage of Yafta's nervy showing today, really.
Catch.
Down the track.
6.
And that goes over.
6.
So Heather Knight saying, that's it, I've had enough. I need to do this, and I'm going to do it now. But will it be too little too late? 73 meters, probably the biggest 6 of the match. And well over Chloe Tryon's head. Not exactly a happy cappy, but she's got a chance to recover. And Heather Knight slaps that all the way to the cover boundary, but that's only a single. And so 16 runs off 8 balls, which is not impossible, but with Shabnim Ismail to bowl the last over, it could very well be too little and too late.
Never know. Never know. If we go through. Still an over to go. Oh, no.
And that is it high in the air. That should be out, definitely. There should be a fielder under it. And no, there isn't. So they run for 2.
Okay.
Well, Sarah Glenn
don't let them
finding
run.
that gap.
Bring everybody in. If they run, make it 2, not 1. If they run, only 1 run. No, only 2. Only 2 runs.
Last ball. And that is once again played to the leg side. Is there a fielder there? No, there isn't. So they've got to try and run for the second, but they decide not to. So crucially, England are now 152 for 7 off 19 overs and need 13 off the final 6 balls. So Sarah Glenn has an order. Get
Okay.
off strike and give Heather Knight the chance to be the knight in shining armor.
Manny, I can't watch the game now, so I'm solely relying on you right now.
What happened? Is there a power cut?
Yeah, power outage.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that, mate, but I've got you back. 13-6, and it will be Shabnim Ismail to bowl the final over. She's been great so far. Her third over did see her go for a little bit when Siva Brunt was batting well, but she now has the final over, the chance to seal this magnificent win. And once again, play to the leg side, and that will be a single. They are not going to chance Chloe Tryon's arm.
Choose on track now. Knight.
Yeah,
Nice.
Heather Knight's on strike, 12 runs off 5 deliveries. And personally, as much as I'm a supporter of England, it would be a travesty of justice if they were to win because, you know, they've been second best for the last few overs. 5 deliveries left. And Heather Knight opting to try and play the paddle sweep down to the boundary, but completely missing it. That's a dot ball. And so 12 runs off 4 balls. England need 3 boundaries or 2 sixes. And receiving some encouragement there. Shabnim Ismail. Not quite able to get the ball on the bat, and Sarah Glenn quite rightly sending her captain back. Four balls left. Over the wicket to the right-handed Heather Knight from Shabnim Ismail. Right arm. And she's bowled the England captain.
Come on!
And with that, England's challenge is over.
South Africa, we can bat, we can bowl, we're the greatest ever seen. Oh, 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 oh. Come on.
Well, this is what happens when you have some smart captaincy. She was able to get her part-timers to sort of choke the flow of runs. Heather Knight goes for 31 off 25. Heather's not going to be the knight in shining armor. England need 2 sixes. She's hit 2 sixes in her knock. But 12 for 3, 2 wickets to go. And you just imagine that with Shabnim Ismail bowling as well as she's done now, it will be all over bar the shouting. And that is her 41st 2020 World Cup wicket, which puts her tied first alongside Anya Shrubsole. She will definitely get a chance to go one better in these next 3 deliveries.
From this ball, 6 from this ball or the next one.
No, I'm going to say this. South Africa are worthy winners. I'm sorry. Heather Knight will know that her team in the crucial moments were badly outplayed. Throwing their wickets away was a horrible thing to do. And once again, you see the new batsman coming in. I believe that was Charlie Dean who tried to play that all the way through to the fine leg boundary, but short fine leg coming up there and saying, not today. Heather Knight playing across the line, an ugly heave, and you can see what it means to Sune Loose. And so South Africa could find themselves in the first ever ICC World Final.
Yeah. I think we were the better team today. Got to be honest.
Yes, you were. No complaints.
People smash that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel.
That is high in the air. I don't think that has enough to... well, I mean, again, there's no fielder under that, but the batsman will run, and they end up running for... How many runs did they get? One of the confusion. Sarah Glenn ended up losing her bat. England now need 9 runs from 1 ball. A legal delivery will do it.
Illegal. Please. No
Congratulations
ball.
to South Africa.
Congratulations,
No,
South Africa.
wait, just hold on.
And they now know that they are one match away from making history. Last ball of the match. High in the air. This one should be taken. It still isn't. But they don't care. South Africa have beaten England deservedly by 7 runs.
Come on!
They are through to the final, where they will face Australia in a Sanzar Classic.
W settings only, people. Come on, take that, you English. Come on. We're going to be the champions. Champions. Ole, ole, ole. Ole, 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 ole. Come on. Come on. Yes, let's go. Let's go. Finally. The final. Come on. Take that.
Brilliantly done by the Proteas. And you can lap up this victory all you want, Hanno. Well-deserved winners at the end of the day. And obviously Sarah Glenn getting a couple of doubles, but clearly not enough. That wicket of Heather Knight was the clincher. And Knight obviously looking to heave that ball away, but only getting it off her back leg onto the stumps. And with that, they knew it was over, bar the shouting. And you see Chloe Tryon and Shabnim Ismail in an embrace. This has been a well-led team by Sune Luce, who has obviously shown some good innovation with her bowling changes and field placings. Heather Knight today simply didn't have much of a clue to try and stop the flow of runs when South Africa were batting. And it did prove to be a good toss to win in the end, because although England were going brilliantly in the power play, in the middle order overs was where England lost it. They quite simply allowed South Africa to get on top of them and apply a lot more pressure. And the bowlers ended up doing the job. You can see the distraught faces of the England players. They know they've been outplayed, but for South Africa, for the likes of Shabnim Ismail, Chloe Tryon, Marizanne Kapp, and others, this is a moment to savor. A first ever ICC
We need
World
to win it. We
final.
need to win it. We can't get to the final and butter it. We
Yeah,
can't be
certainly
like
not
them
on
now.
your home turf. And obviously, embraces there between Sophie Eccleston and another teammate, Catherine Siver-Brunt. Could this be her final major tournament for England? Complacency was probably what did it for them, but Luce did well enough to win the toss and opt to bat first. And after a
And
difficult opening
always
power play,
remember,
they've really turned it on.
catches won matches. Tasman Brit. What a play. What a play.
Yep.
Underrated.
She injured her left elbow taking that brilliant catch to get rid of Alice Capsey. And you take a look at the scoreboard. Dunkley, Wyatt, Nat Siver-Brunt holding out when they looked to get set. They should have got a half century, but they didn't. Heather Knight tried to do it all on her own, but couldn't. England ending up on 158 for 8, not even getting to 160. And after the expensive nature of the two left-arm spinners, it was the medium pacers and seamers who took South Africa through. 4 wickets for Ayabonga Kaka, 3 wickets for Shabnim Ismail. And South Africa winning by 6 runs, deservedly so. They will play in the final on Saturday, and I know that Mr. Trollope will be pumped up for that. A final in South Africa, again, the hosts versus the defending champions. It will be one to savour, and certainly a huge fillip for South African cricket.
Yeah.
At this particular time.
I think.
I don't think so. Aside from, winning a few ICC tournaments, they've never won an ICC World Tournament. So Sune Luce has now led her team to a first ever final, and it will be a moment to savour. And it will be interesting to see what the lineup will be. I wonder who will be left out.
I think I'll make a special thing. I usually don't want to do watch alongs or stuff like that on the Sunday, but this Sunday we will be live. It's too big not to be live.
Agreed. It's a home final in your home country, and the player of the match is Tasman Britt. So I'm going to mute my mic.
Yeah, definitely deserved.
Her innings of 68, the game away from England, and 4 catches said it all. Number one.
Number one. Now let's be number one in the world. But I think we can end it here, unless there's something else you want to discuss, Manny. I think we can. We'll end it here. Be up yourselves. Like I said, there will be a stream on Sunday. Don't you decide to do it, but there will be a stream. Be up yourself, Just Fan. Better win it. Yeah, thank you. The nerves are kicking in already. But yeah. People, we will be live for championship prediction stream later on around 5:30. We will be live for a championship prediction stream. There will also be a Six Nations stream, and I might do a watch along to the Fulham Wolves game. Might, but yeah, there will be Six Nations one, and a championship preview. That's the content coming up. And on the other channel, there will be a Spurs versus Chelsea preview. So be up all yourselves, people. Be up. How many likes? What's the like saying? Let's get a few more likes, people. Get the likes in, people. Come on. Don't be so stingy. 4 likes. Let's get that up to 5. Right, please. Come on.
Thank you. Right, so hold on. Yeah, so basically Tasman Brits was saying that, she was hoping to having some discussions with Cass Naidu, the broadcaster, talking about how 140, 150 could be a minimum target, and they were hoping for 160, and finally they got it. She had a difficult start, obviously, trying to get in, but once she got settled, she was able to play as well as she did. And with the 4 catches, she said she actually surprised herself with that wonderful catch to get rid of Alice Capsey. And the videography, you get nothing but the best. South African jubilation, English desolation. Heather Knight's face says it all. Sune Luce's cock a hoop. And you can see the tears starting to fall because for several of these English players, it could very well be their last dance. And
what's her name? Alice who?
Who?
Alice. What's her surname?
Capsey. Let's take a look at some of these comments here. Well done, South Africa, for the win. Very well done indeed. I hope South Africa beat Australia. Better team, fair play. Congratulations to South Africa. And Chelsea fan giving you an edit. You better go on and win it. Big up to us, and big up to us, and big up to you as well, Chelsea fan, to everyone who's come in the chat. You, DR, Chris Welsh, and so thanks a lot for coming in. But we are going to stay on because we obviously have the captains who will come in and have their say, and we're going to be interested to hear what Heather Knight and Sune Luce will have to say. I think England will look back on some of those loose deliveries, which gave South Africa all the hope they could get. And England just simply couldn't get going. They couldn't find a person to score a 50. They couldn't accelerate at the right time. And South Africa just kept pegging them back. It'll be interesting, though, to see how this South African attack does against the Australian batsmen, because the batswomen, for example, were given a right scare by India. But they do possess a great deal of class, and even their bowlers as well, and their fielding certainly is quite spot on. So I don't know what you think, Hanno, but so I don't know if we'll have time to do a preview later on, but especially given that tomorrow is Saturday, and there will be some Premiership action. But as a small preview, who do you think will be the key players for either team on Sunday? I think I'll wait for him to come back and answer that question. This goes to show that England still have designs on being one of the top teams in the world, but they still have some way to go. And I think this will probably go down as a choke by England. Simply left themselves too much to do. A good toss to win by South Africa in the end, and their bowlers ended up making it count. And we will be coming back to hear from the captains. Obviously, Heather Knight will be disconsolate, but she will have her say. And sun's almost setting over here in Cape Town. I mean, not here, but over there in Cape Town. And a summary of the match: 4 wickets for Ayabonga Kaka, recovering brilliantly. 3 wickets for Shabnim Ismail, who also had a terrific recovery. And Nadine de Klerk with a wicket herself. And now we have the captains. So Cass Naidu there to both Heather Knight and Sune lose. Heather Knight obviously disappointed, but recovered well enough to speak to the broadcaster, basically saying, the England bowlers let South Africa score too many runs near the end, especially near the end when Catherine Brunt conceded that. She was hemorrhaging runs in that over. And then South Africa bowled to a plan, certainly took the pace off the ball and made it difficult for the England batswomen to really make hay, as it were. And it ended up being close, but ultimately not close enough. And in T20 games, the close nature of the margins of victory will pretty much not tell the story of, how well teams certainly play. And certainly near the end, it looks as though South Africa were, destined to win. I think they certainly stuck to their task magnificently, bowled brilliantly well. Fielding with, Tasman Brits in her element was top notch. And that's all of the way it proved. England certainly gave it their all and they fought hard, but in the end, it was just too much with too little left and too little too late. And at the moment, we will end up. Obviously, all England can do is just reflect on another failed ICC Women's 2020 World Cup tournament, because since winning the first edition in 2009 under the captaincy of Charlotte Edwards and being fortified by another legend in Claire Taylor, they've reached 3 finals, losing them all, and Australia have won 5, with the West Indies winning 1. And basically, Australia have reached the final in the last 6 tournaments, and this will be their 7th consecutive one against the host nation, South Africa. And Australia, of course, the 5-time defending champions, but South Africa, the hosts. England will have to look back and reflect on where they go from here. They do have some exciting youngsters coming through, and they will look to try and build on the success they've had. But obviously, to people like Catherine Sciver-Brunt and a few others, this could very well be the end of the line. And all England can do is lick their wounds and come back in 2024 when it will be held in Bangladesh. So there will be some time for them to set their record straight and overcome this loss. But at the moment, it is South Africa against Australia in what should be a final for the ages. A historic first ICC World Final for South Africa. For Australia, it's 7th consecutive ICC Women's World 2020 Final. And before you left, while you were away, I was asking you a question and you couldn't answer this. Who do you think are going to be the key players for either side on Sunday?
I think for us, it's the 2 openers, Ismail and then Cap. Those 4 players. Cap, the 3 openers of the 3 opening batsmen. Cap, and Ismail. I think those 4 players are going to be critical, especially with especially with Cap being that 3rd batsman and need to provide stuff for us. So yeah.
Obviously for Australia, we'll stick with South Africa because, of course, we saw Nkululeko Mlaba being rather expensive today, and she was quite rightly taken out of the attack after another expensive over. During the group stages, she's been one of the best bowlers for South Africa with her left arm spin troubling the batsmen. But up against Australia, who are also pretty good players of spin, I'm not sure she will be as effective. So if it were to be that South Africa decide to go with an all medium pace or pace attack with only Chloe Tryon as a spinning option, could we see Mlaba making way?
I don't think so. I think we stick to almost the same 11 almost pretty much. I think that's what I think we will do pretty much. But for Australia, I think Meg Lanning, Lisa Ely, you got Megan Scott. She's a big player. Lisa Perry, Beth Mooney. That go for the whole team, all quality stars. So yeah, everyone is important for South Africa, but these main players. So yeah.
Okay, well, once again, it's always a pleasure to do some cricket coverage with you. Both of us share a bit of a passion for cricket, given it's, of course, the national games of both our countries, and it's another chapter, another video in the books for you. And thank you very much for letting me be a part of it, and I will hope to join you on Sunday. So I am going to go for the neutrals. Australia have won this trophy too many times. We need to see a new champion. And all I will say is gefeliciteerd. And I don't know what you would say in Afrikaans, but go South Africa.
Nah, be up yourself. Nah, good stream. And yeah, I think it's finally some glory for us. So
yeah, the glory, of course, will be on Sunday if you win, but reaching a final as well, after all the years of reaching semi-finals and not able to go through, I think the women have done justice. And hopefully, will we see this spread to the men? I'm not too sure, especially
nah,
with...
the men are bottlers. Let's get that straight. They're bottlers.
Yeah, and I think Bavuma has now become the official Test captain, replacing Dean Elgar. He's given up the T20 captaincy. Are you confident of the men doing anything under Bavuma and Conrad?
Under Bavuma, no.
And they brought in Neil McKenzie, who was one of my favourite players, as a batting consultant, so he could do some help, I think.
Yeah, but things you can teach them how to bat and everything, but you can't teach them how to cope under pressure. That's the main thing, and how to play in a match with the pressure.
Exactly.
So yeah, but I think let's end it here. Be up yourself and people. I will talk later on this, but this Stephen is not well. If you guys know him, Stephen Featley from Stephen Featley TV, he's not well. I will speak on it on a later stream. So yeah, but be up, everyone, and yeah, we'll see you in bed, people. Peace.